This is Urasawa Boys, a podcast where we read and discuss the works of manga artist and author Naoki Urasawa. Right now, we're reading Monster, and Monster deals with a lot of dark and troubling topics and themes, so a list of content warnings is going to be available in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Hi everybody, I'm Quinn.
I'm Matt Fennell.
Yeah, I'm also Samuel Quinn Morris. I'm both of those.
You're Quinn and Samuel Quinn Morris simultaneously.
Quinn and Samuel Quinn Morris. It's a quantum superposition.
Oh,
yeah, I got two in there. All right, we're in it. What a great start, everybody. Welcome back to Urasawa Boys. We're reading Urasawa, and we are reading here the last volume of Monster by Naoki Urasawa. Holy shit.
Quinn, I got to the end and I was like, the question that I always ask at the end of a reading is, well, where does it go from here? And the answer this time was, oh wait, there's no more. It's done.
Yeah. Is that the answer though?
I mean, unfortunately, probably we're going to have to get into, I looked into a little bit of afterwards and it looks like it sucks, honestly.
Oh no!
Doesn't look like something that's worth our time.
Another monster sucks.
Yeah, it doesn't not seem like it's worth our time. But
is it by Urasawa?
It's a light novel that I guess he wrote.
I think that is interesting that he wrote it and it still sucks.
I mean, it's extremely Stephen King school of just I'm going to give you all these details that aren't really important. Like I just have to explain what's going on. Just let me explain. Yeah. Let me write 3 more pages.
I would not be surprised if Urasawa is a better mangaka than novelist.
Probably would be my guess.
Like it's a very different set of tools for storytelling with pretty different successes and failures.
But anyway, that's for the future. Let's take a step back because it's been, well, I just checked the recording date. It was September 3rd was when we recorded the last episode. So it's been 3 or 4 weeks.
And it feels like it too.
Yeah, it's shaking the rust off a little bit. How you been? Anything going on in the life of Quinn?
I've mostly just been overworking myself.
Okay.
So what happened was, when I was in New York, I was so goddamn busy. All I had time for, really, was I would go to work, and then I would go home, and I would hang out or play video games or do something artistic, and then I'd go to sleep, and then I'd do the same thing the next day, right? That kind of life is it's simple. It's prescribed. But now I'm out here in fucking Iowa. My job does not take up all of my life. I wake up in the morning, and then I have school for just 1 hour. And then a few hours in the middle of the day until I go to work. And then maybe I close and maybe I don't. And so the thing is that I have so much more free time than I did in New York. And I am not using it well.
Look, it's an embarrassment of riches situation. You win the lottery, you're going to make some stupid purchases right out of the gate. So this is what we're doing, but with time.
Yeah, I am overbooking myself. I've been making these extravagant meals with Zoe. This Sunday, we made slow-roasted barbecue brisket, collard greens, coleslaw, and some homemade little sandwich buns.
You made the little buns? I love homemade sandwich buns. I've done that before. They are so good.
Yeah, it was from a lovely man on YouTube. This North England dude. I love his accent. He's like, these little corner buns, so delightful. Always keep a little extra in the freezer. It's such a gentle voice. It's very cute. He's a very sweet guy, and his food looks very good. He'll make these little steak pasties or whatever the fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Love that guy. John Kirkwood, I believe. You
Okay,
guys
shout
want to
out
look
to
him
John
up.
Kirkwood.
Shout outs John Kirkwood and his very good little corner bones recipe. Um, so anyway, but so it's that, but then like 2 or 3 meals a week at that level of complexity.
Jeez Louise.
It's too much, man. Um, and then I have at least 3 game projects going. And then school and work on top of that, and then this, and it's too much. So I'm having to dial back. Even today though, like today is kind of like my last day before I step back because I woke up early. So I woke up early in the morning, 1, to do my homework, 2, to get on a phone call with somebody so my dad makes documentaries, right? And it's not like, Quinn's Nepo origins revealed. No, he makes environmental documentaries. Nobody pays him shit. But he's helping make this documentary about like sharks in South Africa, like the fishing industry and its effect on sharks.
Oh, wow.
And because I've done like some like acting and voice stuff like casually, in my life, he was like, "Hey, do you want to talk to this person we might make the narrator?" And so she's in South Africa, so we had to call it like 8 in the morning because she's
Right.
5 hours ahead, uh and so, I had to wake up early to like talk to her about voice acting and stuff. But then later it turned out, oh, she can't do it anyway because the fishing industry in South Africa is essentially the mob. And
so they'll come after her. Yeah.
Yes, literally.
Okay.
Like or at the very least, they will shut down the company she works for. They'll take away her the fucking permit, and
That's
so she loses her
crazy.
job. It's fucked up. So, yeah, it's there's all kinds of stuff happening.
Yeah, it sounds like it. There's a lot going on. Yeah. So
just never think the South African shark mob
there's
is
so much going on in South Africa. Shark mob. Like in some ways, I'm shocked, right? But also, I'm like, yeah, this tracks. Of course,
definitely. Yeah, of course. If anywhere in this godforsaken earth would have a shark mob, it feels like it would be South Africa.
Yeah, you've got to guard the emerald mines with sharks.
There you go. Yeah, engineering new kinds of sharks.
With laser beams.
That's what they need the emeralds for. It's their lenses for the lasers.
Listeners, I am 50-50 on whether or not Quinn got that Austin Powers joke that I was making about sharks with freaking laser beams. Okay, yes. I couldn't tell.
Although to me, I associate it more with the reference made to Austin Powers in the Lego Movie.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. Well, I was thinking there's a Lego computer game.
Laser sharks. It's a good bit.
That's a good movie. There's a Lego video game, a Lego computer game called Alpha Team, and I'm pretty sure there's sharks with lasers in that. Like Alpha Team is a good video game. It's like you play as all these. They're like weird Mission Impossible, like the original Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, like that one from the 90s. They all look like that. And you do, it's not lemmings, but it's like kind of, you hit the button to go and your guy runs and you have these little pads that you can place out on the level. So it's like, this one, he'll do a quarter turn to the right and then jump and all that stuff. And it's like a fun little puzzle game and all the guys have different abilities. Very good game. Lots of fun.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of puzzle games, me and Zoe, just this last week, we played this fucking amazing game called
I've seen you playing
of
this.
Sonar.
Okay.
Yeah, you saw me playing it. If anybody listening is interested in puzzle games or linguistics, just pick it up. If you're in the middle of that Venn diagram, I know you've already played Heaven's Vault.
Oh, Heaven's Vault. Okay.
Heaven's Vault.
Right. That's the other
and let
one.
me tell you, Chance of Sonar is better, actually.
Ooh. I was getting clips of it on TikTok and it looked pretty good.
It's fucking amazing. The only problem with it, it's a real Oberdin situation. You can't play it more than once.
Love the Oberdin. Okay, I've got to get into this soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely pick it up. It's $20.
That's
$20.
Pretty cheap. Yeah.
Yeah. So an absolutely incredible game. $20 for a nice we played it for 7-8 hours. That shit's amazing. It's one of my favorite games.
Wow, that's pretty strong words. Okay, I'll have to get in there.
I mean, it was made in a lab for me, to be fair. You know, it was they really they bought up my biometrics from Facebook. Like they got my high school biometrics off of my Facebook, and so they did design it based on outdated stolen personal information, but luckily for them,
it's close enough.
It still works.
It's still you jiggle the key a little bit, the door will open.
Yeah.
All
right.
That sounds great.
You want to get to it? Is there anything
Well,
else
I got to talk
Matt?
about my exciting things that have happened to me.
Gosh.
Because so this is my second week back at work after I took a week off to go to the mountains of Vermont to die.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this is you post resurrection.
I'm a ghost. Right? I got so sick afterwards. Anyway, but so I ran in a Spartan race, which is basically you pay like $200 so you can go run a race that is like it's just toxic masculinity, you know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do all these monkey bars and jump over these walls and crawl through mud and barbed wire. And
was the electric fence still there?
No, so the electric fence is a different one. There's a competing toxic masculine race called the Tough Mudder. This one's called the Spartan race. I think it's a little bit more upstanding. But there was some discourse happening at points in the race. Like guys were talking about, I've done mudders and like these, here's how this one's different. Here's what I like better about that. So I learned a lot against my will about these types of races. But we signed up for this back in February. Some people from one of the church groups we go to, I guess, do a lot of these and convinced my buddy Andrew that we should do it. So the two of us signed up, and then he got shoulder surgery because he broke his shoulder back in high school and it has like never healed right. So he got this surgery back in May to fix it. And so then just like he still doesn't have full range of motion back, right? Man. So he couldn't run it anymore, but I was like, well, I'm gonna do this. So it was
totally
21K, and like running is the main exercise that I do because I hate myself. So I bought a weight vest and have just been running uphill on treadmills for a couple months, and then realized like I'm gonna have to like develop some upper body strength for some of these obstacles. So then was just lifting weights and doing all sorts of shit for about a month there, and I was really worried I wasn't going to be able to do it. But we took a week. We drove up. We stopped in DC. We saw my mom and my dad. We went to New York. We went to Boston, and we saw John from the Brain Trust there for a little bit. We drove to Portland, Maine, where I had a lobster roll. Terrible, horrible, disgusting food.
Terrible.
Oh,
what?
did not care for it at all. I was so excited for the lobster roll. Right, like
was it
mayonnaise?
A bad lobster roll?
I just think it was. I just don't think I like.
Bad?
Well, it was cold, and I think is normally the way that it's like a lobster salad is what a lobster roll is.
Fuck.
Yeah. So
I have always thought a lobster roll was going to be a hot sandwich.
Same here. Apparently not. I think hot is like out of the ordinary. Yeah.
Doesn't sound good. I mean, I don't like seafood at all, so even a hot one sounds terrible to me. But I mean, lobster is so strongly fucking flavored.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want the heat so that other stuff can stand up to it? Question mark.
So it was terrible. Did not like it, but we had a great time in Portland, Maine. Other highlights from the trip include we went to Atlantic City. I won $300 gambling in Atlantic City. We paid a man in a rickshaw to carry us back to our car, and on the way back, we locked eyes with the beautiful waitress from the Mexican restaurant, and she shook her head sadly at us like she was disappointed that we were taking this rickshaw. And my buddy said, "This is a low moment for me. This is very embarrassing."
Man.
And then we went to Chinatown in New York, and he tried to buy a fake Rolex, and we got hustled by a bunch of Chinese guys. Yeah. And
how do you fail to buy a fake Rolex?
Well, I pointed at a guy who had like one of those little sheets, and I was like, this guy's got watches. So we followed him through a whole bunch of alleys and stuff, and then just like got swarmed by these people, and they were all talking to him, like asking him what he wanted. He's like, leather band, Rolex, and he pointed at one, and they're like, okay, we go get, and they're like, stay here. And he's like, okay. And they're like, $200. And he didn't want to pay $200 for a fake Rolex because that's too much to pay for a fake Rolex.
It is.
So he was like, I don't know. And they're like, stay here. We're going to go get it. Stay here. So we're waiting for like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. And he looks at me. He's like, we got to go. I like don't want to do this. So he starts to leave and the guy grabs him on the arm and is like, wait, it's coming. So he tells me, he's like, just start walking. Like, I'll follow you in a second and we're just going to walk away and they won't follow. So I start walking. They don't care about me because I'm not trying to buy a watch. He starts following behind me. 2 Chinese guys start following behind him. And so I stepped into a dumpling restaurant and ordered some bao buns and a little bit of tea. And he like frantically runs up to the girl behind the counter and is like, do you have a bathroom? And she's like, yeah, around the corner and down the stairs. He sprints around the corner. And I'm just like taking my sweet time, enjoying my bao buns. And my phone rings and I look down and it's him. And I pick up and I go, hello? And he says, turn around. I turn around and he's squatted on the floor with his head out around the corner like this. So they can't, like, the 2 Chinese guys are outside the restaurant, like looking in, but he's not at eye level anymore. So they can't see him. And he's like, are they still there?
Oh my God.
And I was like, yeah, they're still there. So we had to wait for about 20 minutes before they left. So that was pretty funny for me. It was very stressful for him, but it was pretty funny for me.
Oh my God.
He ended up finding a guy on Canal Street who sold him a fake Rolex.
For
much cheaper.
Where were you guys? Okay, you weren't on Canal to start. Where were you?
No, we were in the heart of Chinatown, wandering around through those streets near Mulberry Street because it was right where Chinatown turns into Little Italy. You got to go to Canal Street. Yeah.
You got to go to Canal.
Yeah. But Chinatown's usually not one of the stops that I hit when I go to New York because
that's a shame.
I mean, I had a great time when we went this time. It was fun. So those were like the big highlights. And then of course after the race, so ran the race. It was a Saturday morning. It was 7 hours, 21K, 6,500 elevation gain. I had to carry a sandbag up a hill at the very end of it, and that sucked.
My dad's a big proponent of sandbags.
I bet. Sandbags. Yeah, that sounds... Honestly, a sandbag is like one of those multi-tools where it's like, I can do a lot with this.
Well, if you get like... Because he had like this like specific little sandbag that like had a bunch of handles all over it. So you could like do a bunch of different exercises with it. It was... That motherfucker was all purpose. I honestly, now that you brought it up, I kind of want one again.
The sandbag is the perfect multi-tool.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I hope there's a website somewhere that says that.
I'm sure we can Google it, and it will exist. The sandbag is the ultimate multi-tool.
There's totally a YouTube video from some like fitness bro.
Oh yeah, talking about how all you need is a sandbag and you can get ripped.
Yeah, literally, he's holding it up in the thumbnail and he's pointing to it. It's got a big arrow. Yeah. You know, get rid of your home gym. One tool. You know. You just need one thing at home to get ripped.
There's got to be an infomercial for the fancy sandbag with all the handles. I'm sure that's like...
There's got to be. I gotta ask Dad what brand that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta figure it out. Viewers, are any of you like sandbag people?
Yeah, chime in. Let us know your sandbag thoughts.
It feels like, like Spotify did that like Q&A thing. They're like, oh, do you have any like notes about this podcast? I'm like, nobody's using this. Nobody wants to type something into Spotify. That's not what you do with Spotify.
Quinn, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't even know how we would begin to see that information if someone typed it in. Literally. I have never looked at a Spotify analytics page because, as the listeners of this product probably know, I think Spotify is a terrible platform for podcasts. And that is like one of my old man shouting at the cloud opinions because I realize I am in the minority.
Whoa. In the what?
Minority. What did I say?
That's wild. You said minority. You just said it not once but twice. Minority. I've never heard that even one time, Matt. I've always heard minority.
Oh, interesting. We got to do, as a bonus episode, we have to do one of those things where like we read words to see our regional accents. Here's the fun one that I always do. SYRUP. How would you say that?
Syrup.
I say syrup. See, this is the riveting content.
Syrup.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. This is play Chants of Sonar if you want more of this.
More of this, okay. Oh,
all
that's
right.
good.
Oh, jeez. I got
get
one.
into it.
I got one.
Oh,
And
do
then
it. Yeah.
here's my one. Whenever I say this, I don't even think this is like. I think the rest of my family says it different. This is just a Quinn thing. Everyone gets me on this. Calculator.
Pulculator? Like calculator?
Calculator. Yeah.
Oh, you say calculator. Interesting.
Yeah. Because you don't calculate. You calculate.
Yes, you do. You don't.
I calculate. I calculate.
You're calculating.
Calculator. I am. I'm a cold
calculating.
That was intended. You know, I was going to make a joke about like CAULK, and then I said it and realized, well, there just really isn't any differences there.
No.
So I imagine someone out there got confused.
There's some deep-seated homophobia in me from years and years and years ago, where I'm like, well, I have to say caulk. Make that L very, very pronounced.
Middle school sure was a time.
Oh, yeah.
What a formative time. Oh, boy. All right. Let's get to it, people. Oh, man. What a mighty preamble that was.
Yeah, but we
minutes.
needed it. We needed that.
Oh,
Everyone was here for that. They're tuning in. They don't care about the ending.
Yeah. They don't care about the ending of this series that they've been listening to for a year
the
straight
finale
now.
To the podcast.
Ideally, hopefully. I mean, well, at least Vil has been. Thanks. Well, not consistently. Vil, whenever you hear this, thank you. We love you.
Yeah, thank you to all of our listeners.
Yeah, thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you to all 3 of our patrons. Also, apologies to all 3 of our patrons.
Yeah, thank you for sticking with us.
We gotta do something.
Thank you to that one person on Twitter who linked us that article forever ago that I'll finally get to read.
Oh yes, we'll be able to read that. We'll be able to talk about it in the recap.
Bonus. Yeah.
Oh,
well, not the bonus. It's not the
be...
bonus, but it's the
not the bonus.
Yeah, the post-mortem. It's the recap or something.
Yeah.
We got to figure out a fun name for these episodes.
Oh, that is we will have to figure something out. But here we are. Final volume. Matt, let's just start with like overall thoughts. Final volume, a little bit more chapters than normal.
Longer chapters shorter. In some cases, and then some shorter.
Longer, yeah, kind of a mix. Shorter and shorter as we get to the end.
Yes.
But yeah, how do you feel?
So I've read this. I think I've read it 3 times now. The first time that I read it, when I got to the end, I was really unsure of how I felt about it. And I think I messaged you right away and said, I'm going to have to sit here and think about this. There's parts of it that I really like and parts of it that at the time, I wasn't sure how I felt about. And I'm still a little unsure on some of the pieces. I think I've come out definitely, not that I was like really negative on it at the end of the first reading, but there's like 1 or 2 things conceptually that I'm a little bit negative on, but I have softened on them. Then reading it a second time, I think this is such a bad, because like the other thing, the first time I read it, I was like, well, it does just kind of devolve into like an action movie a little bit. And then the second time I read it, I was like, and that's good. Fuck yeah. I love this.
Yeah, totally.
So it's it's a thinker, but also it's a puncher.
Definitely.
I am positive on the end of this. I'm positive on this chapter. I need to think about like now that I have the whole arc of this thing in mind. Like how do I feel that, because it's a satisfying conclusion to what we read last time and to like the end game.
Yeah. And so now you see if it's a satisfying conclusion
to the whole thing.
Entire fucking thing.
Yeah.
Man. Oh.
How about you? What's your gut on this?
I think one thing that keeps coming up in my notes, as I was rereading it today, and taking notes, I felt myself really immersed in it, and I think, visually, this is one of the best volumes.
Oh yeah.
There's some really stunning layouts, some really great, framing. Like it's Urasawa, so nothing super duper flashy. There are a couple, flashy things here, but nothing crazy. But just the overall vibe to this volume where you've got the rain coming down, and
Love that.
Like, the vibe is so powerful. You really feel like you're there. You can hear the rain, you know what I mean? It's really, really immersive in a way that it's honestly kind of difficult for comic books to be as a medium. Comic books don't really sell themselves on immersion. They're small, they're in your hands. They only affect one of your senses. Like, real immersion in a comic is not really easy to achieve. And I'm not going to say that that was Urasawa's goal, but that's definitely how I felt reading it. I felt really there in a way that I don't think I would say that I did in the rest of the series leading up to this.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you said about, hey, this isn't super flashy, but visually this is probably top, maybe if not the highest that it's ever been, right up near the top. There are, yeah. I mean, one of the first things that we talked about with this manga way back was that Urasawa is a face manga guy. There are so many good Tenma reaction shots that I think are very subtle, and there's a lot that you can read into them and how they're different, and I think it's so expressive and communicative. And then also, like you said, in addition to the rain feeling immersive and kind of drawing you in and being this totalizing thing, I just also think it's so cool. All these guys running around in the rain, like long hair, grizzled Tenma, always cool, It's sick. It's really, really, really exciting and cool and fun.
Yeah, and there's something about everybody running around in the rain with guns, It's just like,
I mean, it's like when everyone was wearing trench coats and running around doing bullet time after the Matrix, right? It's like
totally. Well, I think it's one of the reasons why it's immersive to me is that, like, everyone knows what it's like to be caught out in the rain and how kind of, like, inherently depressing that is. It's like a shock to the system. You're not out in the rain like this unless something is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so the fact that it's all of these people out in the rain, like, it creates this constant sense of the world on its head, of a bad dream, of this situation that is just so terrible. It's one thing to be, like, out in the rain for a few minutes on the way to the fucking car. That's annoying enough. But these guys are just out here. They're just standing out here. It feels weird.
Yeah. I think there's something else about violence in the rain that's really striking. I mean, I think, both of them actually. I think that for my money, like, my favorite finales in genre movies, is Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2. Not a big fan of Blade Runner 1, like, as a whole. That's a whole other thing. Blade Runner 2 is my favorite movie. I think the finales of both of those movies, which are, big fights in the rain, are just, like, I think about them all the time, like, all the time, at least once a week. I think about those, and I think there's something that's so, and we'll get into it as we get into the specifics of some of these, but I don't know what it is. I've always been, when I was in high school, I was in honors English one year. I think it was my junior year. I don't remember. But we read these 3 books by this one author. It was called, I cannot remember his name, but the first book, the one that was the most kind of, I think, important for me, was a book called How to Read Literature Like a Professor, which is kind of like a pop English studies book a little bit, right? Where it's just kind of, he goes through, what that book does is each chapter he talks about a different type of, like, not even literary device, just like imagery that can get deployed in literature, and, like, here's ways, like, symbols and images, and, like, what does it mean when you're quoting Shakespeare? What does it mean when you're quoting the Bible? What does it mean, like, this, that, the other? Like, how do these things get deployed and used? And the chapters that I think about a lot are, the one on rain, and there's another one. It's well, I think about the one about eating meals a lot, like sharing food. I've only read that book once when I was, 16. I can't imagine that. I mean, like, I think if we read it now, there'd probably be stuff that would make you groan, right? And it's just because I remember it being kind of corny. And there's, at the used bookstore down the street from me, they have 1 million copies of it. Like, I think it's a pretty popular, like, here's a honors English class thing to read. But it did, totally. It really helped me develop and I mean, it helped me move from kind of a CinemaSins way of thinking about media into breaking down what all does this mean? I mean, I think prior to this book, I would have been one of those people who buys into that meme that's like, the curtains are blue.
The curtains, yeah.
Yeah, which now drives me up a wall. Like, that just makes me so frustrated. Like, how incurious that statement is, right? Like, and the underlying stuff under that. But there's something I think everyone just has, like, you know, the same way that you have favorite colors or favorite types of music or you know, favorite movies. I think one of my favorite, like, pieces of imagery is stuff happening in the rain.
It's a good one.
Mm-hmm. So,
okay,
we should get into it.
Yeah. Chapter.
We're recording this like 9 hours before the episode uploads.
Oh yeah, it's we're coming in hot. I'm gonna be staying up late on this one, but also it's the last reading, and I am not rushing this episode.
Okay, nope, we're taking our time.
We are taking our time. 5-star podcast, 5-star
runtime. 152. A fictional character. Tenma arrives in the forest bordering Ruinheim and stumbles across a dying man, a teacher from the next town over, who tells him that outsiders came into town with guns and now everyone is killing each other. Someone has to save the children. Back in town, Lunga reflects on the idea of Johann as a fictional character and how a real person can become fiction if they erase their past and everyone else that knew it, which is what Johann is doing now. Grimmer sadly reflects that he's also a fictional character and lays the blame for this on Papa/Bonaparte, who mournfully admits that he's been waiting for this reckoning for years. He's unafraid to die to atone for his sins. Grimmer angrily grabs him and asks him if he knows the magnitude of what he did, destroying a human being's sense of morality, awakening the monster within the human heart. He reflects on all that has been taken from him, enjoying a picnic, relishing a beer with a friend, crying at the death of his child, and decides that he's not going to kill Papa, but is instead going to protect him from the massacre so his crimes against humanity can be exposed to the world. Lunga questions the elderly couple about Johann's whereabouts, and another gunshot is heard. Elsewhere, Tenma runs through the streets of Ruinheim and finds a terrified family who he decides to help escape. The elderly couple reveals to Lunga that the massacre is being directed from the other hotel, the Hotel Bergbach, and at the same time, the fisherman and his wife show up with the guns they bought in their paranoia. Lunga takes their rifle and directs the rest of the group to stay behind and protect the hotel, promising to buy Grimmer a beer after the whole thing wraps up. The chapter ends as Tenma leads the family out of town through the rain, shouting, "You're going to make it."
So fucking cool.
It's good. It's, like, hopeful. It's, like, and I think that sets the tone, right?
And you're going to make it.
I think maybe that's where, in my initial reading, where some of the, like, mismatch was, because I bought into the grit, which I think is the thing that we've talked about so much, is, like, you are tricked into thinking this is going to be a grim and gritty murder story where we're going to go murder this horrible boy. But I think a few episodes ago, we realized that it's not
maybe we shouldn't be killing the horrible boy.
Yeah, it's much more hopeful than that. And I think this, like, re-establishes that as we move into the finale. You're going to make it.
You're going to make it. Yeah, man. That's true. It is really funny when Grimmer's like, so, you admit you're wrong now. Tenma's innocent, right? And Luca's like, No, I don't.
It's very confusing to me, but at the same time, I respect the stubbornness.
It's really, I mean, it is confusing. It's definitely confusing. I think maybe he's saying, no, he says, I still suspect. I guess it would, it doesn't jive with something that comes up later. Like when Lunga and Tenma actually,
I mean, that's a good confrontation is the thing, but like, it's like cool lines, but like they really don't make sense. And this is kind of like
know.
This is a weird... I mean, because, like, he has figured out Johan's deal, and, like, Johan exists, and he knows it. It's just, it feels weird that he refuses to budge on it. Like, nope, fictional character. I'm on vacation. Fiction. Not real lies.
I wonder if there's, like...
It just feels clunky in a way.
Like, is there a translation difference here, maybe? Like, I'm just wondering if there's something that was lost, because it definitely is not super consistent with Lunga before this or after this.
Yeah.
Particularly.
Well,
or maybe it's just his pride. Maybe he just isn't admitting it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The thing that I do like is this idea that you become a fictional character by erasing your past and everyone who knew it, which, as we know, that's the thing that Johan does, right? And it's this question of you cease to exist. And I think maybe this is like the best articulation of what that actually means. And I wrote down, it's like, how does a person become a fictional character if their history is destroyed, their past is erased? They're just as good as fiction. They may as well be, right? It's like if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there, does it make a sound?
If if there's nobody that knows you, that remembers you, if you don't exist in anyone else's life, then your own life has no meaning and, barely exists.
Yeah.
Yeah, we only exist in context with other people.
Absolutely.
Which is very cool, and I think, like, now that we phrased it that way, is very core to what Monster is talking about.
Mm-hmm. So I that is the part of it that I like. The other thing I wrote down, I mean, and I think, does Lunga or does Grimmer call it out, is like, it's a concept that's very similar to the things from your stories. I think Lunga says that to Bonaparte.
Yeah. It's like the end of your picture book.
And the other thing that's interesting is, like, this idea of, like, we know that this was the Bonaparte method, right? Was like severing your connections, erasing your past. So he's basically turning real people into fictional characters. And, like, that works with, I mean, like, Grimmer is the Hulk, who is a fictional character. Yeah. Right?
Grimmer is a literal in-universe fictional character in the Magnificent Steiner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's clean and neat in some ways, but then the way that Lunga talks about it, I think, is kind of clunky.
Definitely. Yeah. Grimmer's reason you suck speech.
Oh, yeah.
Damn, I hate that I just spoke TV trope.
Oh, is that a TV trope? No. Well, we can't become those guys.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. it was reflex. But Grimmer's dressing down of Papa is so good.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that it's like this guy thinks that he's ready to do the noble thing and die, and Grimmer's like, no, like, he doesn't call him a coward, but basically he's like, no, that's not the noble thing to do. You going out there and dying is the cowardly thing to do. The world needs to know what you did. It does feel very extremely 90s, right? Like, this idea that, like, what we need to do to Nazis is try them in the Hague, right?
Totally.
You know? But I think I think it's interesting. I mean, I love it. It's good. But, like, it does feel, it's like, no, I'm not going to let you die. You're going to answer in a court of law for what you did. Destroying people's humanity.
Wow, you put it that way. When you say court of law in that tone, like, now I feel it.
Yeah.
Now I feel it. It's very like 90s Spider-Man, I think, in particular. Just because the 90s Spider-Man, like, people say Batman's edgy, but the man does not kill. Spider-Man is edgier than Batman sometimes.
He can
And I
be.
Definitely think in the 90s. Because Batman was surprisingly not that edgy in the 90s. It just
Did he get, like, unedgy after The Dark Knight Returns or something?
No. It's not that he was... I mean, it was dark. It wasn't edgy,
Okay.
Also, a lot of time in the 90s, you had...
Doug Mensch.
Kelly... Munch... Yeah, you did have Munchie, who is not a particularly dark writer, but you also had Kelly Jones as the artist. And that is kind of more like a neo-grotesque deal than an edgy deal. If you want to hear, let me grab a Kelly Jones. Yeah, you can Google it. I'm not
okay. Yeah, I mean, this first one that comes up for me feels... I mean, it's the long ears. That is
exactly.
that era of Batman.
It is the super duper long ears, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in the middle of the mags, like the shapes are just, it's super non-realistic, and it was just really interesting for that to be like the norm on Batman for several years, to have this style. Anyway, but it wasn't edgy.
Yeah.
It was a lot of stuff, but it wasn't
okay.
edgy.
Yeah, so it does, like I said, it feels 90s, but I don't think in a bad way. Like, I think this is appropriate to this is what would happen in a 90s action movie. It's the same thing. We're not going to shoot the Nazi. We're going to take him to, answer for his crimes. He gets killed anyways. That's what will happen in the movie, and that's what happens here.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
But it's the idea that we need to, we're better than this. Violence doesn't solve everything. You know? Which it just feels quaint now a little bit, but not in a bad way.
It does feel quaint, but it also feels like, I would say, there's that reading, and I think the other reading of this is kind of like a more abstracted, like, psychological reading, which is, like, what do you do with guilt? Like, what is the actual proper response to having wronged someone or done something immoral? Is the answer to get super down on yourself and to be like, I'm a bad person, everything sucks, fuck,
I'm ready to die in the street. Yeah,
exactly. Or is the answer to, like, move forward and atone in some way? Like, this guy says that he doesn't know how to atone.
Exactly.
And
Lunga Grimmer tells him, this is how you atone.
Yeah, Grimmer's like, hey, you atone by, I don't know, facing consequences.
Yeah.
And that's that is the telling thing, right? Because Papa is like, I'm willing to face any consequences. Except he's not. He's only willing to face death because he could have turned himself in at literally any time.
That's a good point. That's a very good point, yeah.
Like, that's the thing. People are like, oh, yeah, I'll face whatever consequences.
You've still been hiding for 40 years.
Exactly.
Or I guess not that long, because it's like 20 years.
Yeah, but still, and I mean, who among us can't identify with this thing of being like, I will face up to any consequences except the ones that I really don't want.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. Man, that's it's super.
I'll do whatever I need to do. I just really hope I don't have to do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it feels a bit like that.
I like that.
I feel like
I had a note about, and this is the joke that we made when we said they're blackpilling the kids. Grimmer's thing is he says that the Bonaparte method was like a plot to destroy the Western world, destroying a human being's sense of right and wrong, which to me, it is impossible for me to hear those two phrases back to back and not think about the idea that postmodernism has, destroyed the Western world, right? Like this... No absolutes anymore,
Yeah.
Which I don't think that. I mean, like, I don't think that.
Yeah, but no, it is a fun reading. This idea, because I definitely don't think that this is an anti-art story.
No, absolutely not.
But it is something interesting that, like, the vehicle of trauma and monsterization is, like, an East German artist seeking to upend the social order.
Yeah.
There's
something awesome about that. Like, and like when that's why we had so much fun with that idea when it came up. Because like
it's still fun.
It's a fun idea to deploy. Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, who has the most power? Who is at the heart of all of this evil? It's one guy that makes kind of fucked up kids books.
It's Dr. Seuss, but twisted.
Yeah, it's kind of like Dr. Seuss, but with sort of a twisted edge. They're kind of dark. They're not like,
it's just a little fucked up,
Yeah.
Just a little malicious.
Who did we make that? We made a joke about the "Welcome to My Fucked Up Mind"
I don't remember.
Tumblr before.
But yeah.
Was it Johan or was it Bonaparte?
I think it was Johan, and I'm pretty sure that was last episode because it made me laugh when I heard it again. It makes me laugh every time.
It just goes to show, like, you see one, and then the next person, they want to make their own. Everybody wants to make. What we're learning here is that everybody wants to make a "Welcome to My Fucked Up Mind" Tumblr. Because everybody thinks their mind is super fucked up and weird.
At least for some period of time. It's part of the human experience, just being like, look, this is the reason why there's that video making the rounds again of Patrice O'Neal explaining why white people love the song "Creep" by Radiohead. It's because deep down, it's yes, I am a weirdo. I am a creep. And then that guitar goes, cha-cha, and it's just, you love it.
Who among us hasn't, in the mirror, it's the
gun, cha-cha. Yeah,
So good. I like it when Lunga points the gun at the evil man.
Oh, I love it when he pulls a gun on the elderly. It is so funny.
Is it just like he has just got it. It is leveled.
Oh man, yeah, that's good. It's interesting that, like, getting back to the Tenma side of it now. I think it's interesting that a few people have said the townsfolk are all killing each other, but like we have not seen any of that violence. We're not being shown this.
We barely do.
We never do. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Not that I'm like, show it. Like, I don't think you need to show it. I don't know if it's better or worse that they don't.
It really, I mean, on the one hand, okay, I guess there's two things. On the one hand, it doesn't feel like it's missing until you notice it's not there, which is an argument for it not to be here. But then when you do notice it's not here, then you are kind of like, why aren't we seeing it? And then it feels like it's missing. So, like, it's one of those things where it's not a problem for 98% of the time and for, like, 95% of readers. But it is odd once you see it.
And I hate to be CinemaSins, I hate to do it, but it does feel, it just becomes kind of convenient, right? It's like anyone can die at any point in time, and we never, there's no, logistically, we don't have to make this make sense. You can just be blasted from any angle at any time.
There is a lot of unexpected blasting in this reading.
Oh, I kept a count of how many times there's a gunshot and we cut away.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I didn't keep count, but I noted it. And man, because
you said it last time, and every chapter this time I was like, damn it, there it is again.
It's so funny. I like it when, but yeah, there's this family just hanging out, and I do think it's a cool moment, where Tenma's like, hey, you're gonna have to, like, go through the forest, and they all start crying, and he's like, don't cry, we gotta go. It's just
there's no time for tears.
Yeah, well, it feels a little bit funny to hear Tenma say don't cry, because it's not really, it's not as compassionate as Tenma normally is, but this is serious business, folks. There's a massacre happening, lest we forget. So it's not crying time, it's get out alive time. Yeah.
Other final thoughts?
If only we hadn't won the lottery.
It's very funny. That's like a laugh line, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the little reaction panel afterward.
It's so convenient that they show up when they do. Like, I'm glad that these folks are still around. They're fun.
Yeah. And then at the end, we have like a death flag off.
Oh.
Between Lunga and Grimmer. Like, this happens that you see this and you're like, okay, so that's one of them dead.
Yeah.
Like, it's gotta be one. But and that's honestly what's really fun, is that we get it for both of them.
Yep.
Like, it's honestly a shockingly good solution to the death flag problem.
Yes.
Because the problem with death flags, right, as a trope, as a thematic concept, is that people get upset if deaths happen without signposting.
Yes.
But obviously, people get upset when it's signposted. So, like, if you're a writer, you don't have a good option. And Urasawa, the absolute madman, figured it out. You just do two at the same time.
It is pretty smart, yeah.
Like, it's really good. And you can make the argument that maybe this one tends a little bit more toward Lunga than Grimmer. And it does tend to just a little in implication, but not enough. I think it's pretty solidly for both of them. Like, you know that they're not having that beer.
Oh yeah. That's never happening. I did write bros. That was the thing that I wrote in
Bros.
response to that line. Bros. I do love that they've become bros. Yeah.
Me too.
Lunga also gives like one of the hardest lines of all time as he's going out. Someone asks him how will you know Johan's agents from the villagers? To which he replies, "I'm a detective. I'll know." Good.
He's gonna gather the data. The hard drive in his head is gonna see him through.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Chapter 153. Vacation's End. Oh, this one's hard to summarize. I'm flipping through it. I'm like, oh man. Okay. I'm gonna do my best here. So after Lunga has left to go to the Hotel Bergbach, Grimmer tries to keep everyone safe. Vim asks, what if something happens to you? And Grimmer says, I have a tough friend who'll be here soon. He doesn't tolerate wrongdoing. He's the magnificent Steiner. It is still raining outside. Lunga walks through the streets of Ruhenheim with corpses littered around, just carrying a gun, carrying a big old rifle. And he runs into a villager, and gets the villager to drop his gun. And then he turns around and he shoots one of Johan's people. And this guy also tells him that the leader is at the Hotel Bergbach. And he tells the terrified villager, go to the Hotel Versteck. They need guns, but you're done shooting. You're not the kind of person who uses a gun. Meanwhile, Tenma is helping get folks out of town, and he asks the school teacher, I think that's the school teacher. Maybe it's a person. Could just be a person. I guess the school teacher's dead.
Yeah, that dude's dead.
It's just like, yeah, this is just a random person. Anyway, but Tenma asks this random person if they know Klaus Papa, and the person's like, yeah, he runs the Hotel Versteck. Meanwhile, at the Hotel Versteck, the fisherman is like, boy, it's quiet. Maybe it's all over. Grimmer says, no, we're probably completely surrounded. Meanwhile, there's so much cutting around. Lunga finds Sausage Girl. And
Sausage Girl? You're gonna do her like that? I did refer to her as a hot dog waitress.
What else do you...
No, Sausage Girl's fine.
She's Sausage Girl. We love her. We love Sausage Girl. She's been through so much. She's just crying in the street, and she tells Lunga about Roberto. As Lunga helps her up, he sees Tenma, and they have a stare-off. And Lunga says, my journey through fiction has become reality. My vacation is over. Time to resume my profession as a law enforcement officer. And he gives Tenma Sausage Girl, and he says, the person you seek is at Versteck, and he's going to the Hotel Bergbach. And he tells Tenma that he's sorry, and walks off into the rain. Meanwhile, Rudy and Nina are driving to Ruhenheim, and there is a memory of hers that is trying to come back, and she does not want to remember it. And she thinks that if Johan remembers it, something terrible will happen. Lunga stands outside the Hotel Bergbach and cocks his gun. Jesus.
Yeah, that's some final boss shit. Cock the gun before going into the hotel. Start the synth wave. Like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
This is so sick. It's like, well, this was the first time where I was like, maybe there's been moments where I'm like, yeah, this definitely works as like a live action movie or a TV show or whatever. But this was the first, I wrote the sentence, this is some John Wick shit. And I was like, wait, do you just have Keanu Reeves play? And like in a universe where John Wick is never a movie that gets made, like is the career comeback for Keanu Reeves his dramatic role as Inspector Lunga?
No.
I don't know.
But it could
Keanu does that like flat kind of, stumbly voice readings.
Maybe you're right. Oh god, wait, now I'm imagining it.
It would work.
Now I'm imagining it.
I'm telling you.
Ooh.
So we're
That's
gonna have to.
pretty good.
Yeah. I gotta figure out a Keanu Reeves impression so I can do this during the bonus episode and really sell you on it.
Oh, perfect. I'm sold already.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this chapter, there's a lot happening. It's easier to follow when you're reading it. I mean, Christ, I just tried to summarize. This chapter is also fucking tiny. This chapter is tiny, and it took me that much work to summarize.
Yeah. This whole reading, just like all of my, because I didn't finish my summaries. I wrote about 4 or 5, and I used the phrase "we cut back to" a lot. Like we are jumping around at rapid pace.
Yeah, which is like you said earlier, like that's kind of what contributes to the action movie feel of some of this. But it's also really interesting because despite the really fast pacing, like the rain is such a dampener on it's so much energy, but it's compressed, and it doesn't feel super overwhelming. You have to turn the page.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's good. One of the things that I thought was like a good sinister detail is when Lunga picks up Sausage Girl, and she says that Roberto kept going out and coming back and changing his shirt and taking a shower. Like,
yeah,
very sinister little detail that he's like, I must be clean.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Like, it's a cool character note, I think. I like it. And I also like the phrase that everyone keeps using that, there's someone that's directing this massacre, right? Like he's the, conductor or puppet master or whatever. And it's all being directed from this hotel room that we've got to get to. It's
yeah, totally.
It's fun.
One thing that interested me, or just like amused me, is that Papa wasn't even using a fake name.
Oh,
everyone just knew that he was Klaus Papa in Rubenheim. Like he didn't have some fun little.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah. Mr. Pseudonym didn't use one here. That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that nobody knew who he was. Which if it works, it works. But you would just like normally in a story like this, they would have a pseudonym. But nope. So I just thought that was a funny detail.
Yeah, that is fun. I have a note about Grimmer and the Magnificent Steiner. I think it's interesting that the way Grimmer explains it to Wim is the Magnificent Steiner doesn't tolerate wrongdoing, especially in light of the speech that Grimmer gave in the last chapter, where he said that this program stripped him of his sense of right and wrong, right? And but Magnificent Steiner seems to operate very much on a sense of right and wrong, or at the very least self-preservation. But
it's a sense of right and wrong, but it's a child's sense of right and wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a sense of right and wrong based on things like fairness, and on pathos, emotions. It's the sense of morality that you see on a children's superhero show.
Yeah.
And of course good. It's not really something that he has access to unless he's in Schneider mode. Or Steiner. But yeah, there's the panel when Lunga and Tenma are like looking at each other across the road.
We can talk about this for a while. Let's get into this.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, what you got?
Well, I really, like I said, this was when the face manga thing came up for me, right? Because the series of expressions that Tenma makes. I'm flipping to it. I'm trying to find the page.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh wow, you're right.
I think
Whoa.
it starts on 259, right? The page before 260. Mm-hmm. So we have the shot of Tenma from a distance, right? Then we were widescreen panel with Tenma in the center, and it is like surprise, like disbelief that Lunga is here now. This is where it's happening. And then it kind of starts to change to resolve a little bit, like, okay, this is what's happening. And then it hardens into like, all right, now he's in defense mode a little bit. And then Lunga says the thing, and then we just get a shot of his eyes, like shocked, maybe a little bit sad, and then astonished as Lunga goes off to this thing, and then kind of like a small frown, right? And then watching him walk off in the rain, kind of set, like somewhere between fear and hope a little bit. I don't know. I think this is like one of those things where it's like I can stand in front of a painting and stare at it for an hour and just think about what how it makes me feel.
You're so right. I mean, and the amazing thing about this is that Tenma says nothing. He says nothing. He says Franz Bonaparte in the middle of this, but other than that, everything we get about how he's feeling or where he's at is purely through facial expression, through reaction to Lunga, and it's so fucking good.
And we get the rain running down his face the whole time, like it's good.
You know what's also really cool about this sequence actually, and about this style of storytelling that I just realized is that like we often use the word cinematic, right? We're like, oh, it's use of the camera. But if you think about this sequence in particular and other ones like it, if you did this in like a movie or a TV show with actual cameras and actual people just cutting back to his face every time to see if he's making a different one, you couldn't get away with that. It would work. It would not work.
I think you're right. People would clown on it.
Exactly, because the timing would feel off. But in a manga, in a comic,
because it's so quick that you can get these shots through. Yeah,
exactly. The reader controls the pacing, right? Like time is determined solely by how quickly you personally move your eyes from one panel to the next.
Ooh.
And and of course it's also influenced by the size and shape and positioning of the panels. Those also determine like speed. You'll actually note, like, on page 261 and on 262, there's a couple of very thin panels, or short panels, I should say, that are just like the top of like Tenma's face from like the nose up, and this is clearly a panel that you're meant to go over quickly just to get a sense of Tenma's reaction before you move on to the next thing Lunga's saying. You cannot use this technique in any other medium. Not any other medium. If you were doing this in a book, like in a novel, and you were like, here's the line of Lunga's thing, here's the facial expression Tenma's making. Here's another thing Lunga said, here's the next facial expression. Yeah. It's tedious, you can't do it. In film, it takes actual time. It's tedious, you can't do it. This is a unique technique that works uniquely for this medium, and Urasawa's one of the absolute best at using it.
Yeah. I think honestly the fact that like this I like, obviously I love a lot of the imagery at the end of this, but this scene here is like maybe visually the climax of this story for me, or like the highlight. I don't know. I really, really, really enjoyed this scene.
It is the climax of one of the subplots.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So let's return real quick, listeners, to the definition of a climax as taught by my old script analysis professor Scott Walters, which is that the climax is the moment in a story or scene where the core question of that story or scene is answered. And so this scene, when Lunga walks away, when he says, I'm sorry, that is the climax of the subplot, which is a pretty major fucking subplot of, like, will Lunga catch Tenma or let him go or something? Like, how will this resolve? Now we know how this will resolve. Lunga has said he's sorry, right? And so this scene is super important because it's actually ending part of the story. And that is also why it works so goddamn well.
Yeah. And we talked about how we think the fiction thing that Lunga was doing was maybe a little clunky, but I mean, I need to continue thinking about the thing. Well, he says, my vacation through the pathways of fiction is over. A real person has appeared. You. And it's this kind of idea that like maybe this is the first time he's seeing Tenma as a real person and not like the fiction that he was chasing, right? Of like
it's
Tenma as this murderer.
Unclear.
I don't know.
It is honestly unclear.
I think you can bend over backwards and do a whole bunch of contortion to figure out a way that this makes sense and is like a cool line. Or you can just be like, yeah, I'm vibing. We're just
totally, yeah. It feels like a vibe moment. Yeah. And then we've got the bit in the car.
Okay.
With this deepest memory. If Johan remembers this, and then she makes a terrible face. Man, it's a face like there's so much like fear and despair in that face. It's really good. Urasawa puts a lot of love on Nina.
God, I love
just
Nina
in
so
general.
Much. Yeah, she's the best. Can't wait to read like Yarra and Happy because good news. I found out that Yarra is being like actively translated. They're like halfway through it. Like fan groups, yeah, like scanlations.
Great.
Yeah.
Probably gonna catch up to them at some point.
We will definitely before they.
Well, hopefully they'll be done. Hopefully they'll be done.
It's coming out at a pretty good clip.
Around to
yeah, and I mean we can always do get half of it in and.
And then take out.
I mean, we can always do a hiatus if we need to before they finish.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
That's not fun either. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But I like the way that Urasawa writes female characters at this point still, which was the thing that we said at the beginning. And you're like, you're not going to be disappointed. I don't think I have been. I think it's where I'm at. It's honestly, if there is anyone in this story who makes clear Naoki Urasawa's stance on writing women, it's like I just want them to have happy endings, man. It's the puppet guy. That's what he's I just want their story to have a happy ending.
Yeah. There's definitely something to that.
So, yeah. Do you have any other notes on 153?
Just chick.
Good.
It's fucking Kachak. He's got his fucking gun. He's fucking strapped. Let's get to it.
Good. Big fan. 154. Grimmer's Scream. Lunga moves through the Hotel Bergback like a machine, breaching and clearing with tactical precision, gunning down at least one henchman on his way to Roberto. Lunga locks into place outside of Roberto's room, and we hear the sound of the shower running. Tenma tries to help the hot dog waitress escape, but she's too terrified to move, so he tells her to stay put. He stumbles upon a man and a baby sobbing over the man's dead wife. The man begs for Tenma's gun so he can kill the person that did this and get his revenge, but Tenma tells him that's not what his wife would want. He needs to get out of town and keep the baby safe. We cut back to the hotel, Versteck, where the fisherman and Grimmer talk as they hold their cover, and the fisherman realizes that the whole thing wasn't their fault. It had nothing to do with their lottery winnings. He decides he just wants things to go back to normal and turns to tell his wife this, and then is shot. All of a sudden, the windows explode as the hotel is blasted with automatic weapons. Grimmer stumbles upstairs and finds the man's wife, also shot, and leads the group, and Wim and Papa, down into the cellar. Wim is convinced his dad is behind this, that he's lost his mind from the booze, but Grimmer comforts him. Papa begs Grimmer to let him go outside and face his death and end this, but Grimmer refuses and says he'll handle this, explaining one final time the story of the Magnificent Steiner. Papa comments that when they induced extreme anger, sadness, and stress in some children, they would manifest an extremely violent alternate personality, but most of those kids committed suicide afterwards. Papa is shocked that Grimmer has survived this long. Grimmer steps into the street, unarmed, and begs the attackers to stop, asking them to listen to their hearts. Everything is silent, and then the hot dog waitress rounds the corner, relieved to see Grimmer, explaining that she was so scared, but now he's here. She rushes towards him, and Grimmer tries to stop her, but it's too late. She's shot and killed in the street. And as Grimmer holds her dead body, he hyperventilates and then screams.
Man.
Oh. Let's just make this man suffer. Let's just...
Man, no, I mean for real. Grimmer really gets some of the worst of it in this manga.
Yeah, he really does. He really truly does. What do you have notes wise here?
The sequence at the beginning with the guy with his dead wife is really hard to read.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
It is gut wrenching. Also, I don't know if you looked, but the baby.
The baby
really
smiling.
funny.
The panel of the baby. Yes.
There's several panels that have
little
the
chubby
baby
cheeks,
in it,
just like,
and in all of them it's like. Bah!
It's very funny.
Know?
It's very cute. It's
Yeah,
so sad,
like,
but the little baby just going like, bah! Like you said. It's very good.
Baby doesn't know what's going on.
Baby's having a great time. It's raining.
Yeah. Wow. You know. Yeah, so that was my first notice. I love this baby.
I do too. I love this baby. Have we seen Urasawa draw baby? Well, I guess he drew the infant twins, but they were sinister. This is just like purely a good fun baby.
Yeah. I feel like we haven't seen it. Definitely not one like this. So that's funny. But yeah, just this whole. Like, it's all well and good, like the first bit where he's like, give me your gun, I'm gonna kill the guy who shot my wife, you know, but what really gets me is, like, after Tenma is like, your wife would want your baby to be safe, and the guy just looks at his dead wife and then just screams. And just like, it just feels way too real.
Yeah, it's mean a little bit, but I mean, I think it's definitely feel, I mean, not like out of place, but I think I maybe just kind of glossed over it the first time I read it, but you're right. This is like one of the most horrifying moments of this story, probably, Yeah.
You see a lot of stuff that's like aftermath of this.
Mm-hmm.
You see people reckoning with death and loss and betrayal and, the horrors of Monster. But this was his wife, and she died like 5 minutes ago.
Oh.
Or some shit, like, man, that it is immediate. It is right in front of you. He's in it, and so are we. Yeah, so.
Very, very beginning of the chapter, the Lunga Michael Mann section, fantastic, good, love it. Blasting that dude, and then putting the gun in the mouth, say, let's try that again, where's Roberto? And the dude just points.
Yeah, no, Lunga's like on a spree of badassery. In this thing. He very, very good with the gun, our Lunga.
Yeah.
It's absolutely stone cold, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of awesome, and then it's also kind of scary.
Yeah.
There's a couple of facial expressions that Grimmer makes on 275.
Okay.
When the fisherman is talking about the lottery ticket.
The little smirk.
And the little smirk, and this is a subjective thing to say, but those feel like real facial expressions to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I can imagine a reference image was used for those. They're pretty good. And it is, that one feels, something about that top left one is pretty
it's just
feels
this,
lived
this
in.
rueful, just this rueful, like, like, man, this gallows humor.
It's kind of refreshing to hear this guy, the fisherman is talking about how he thinks this is all his fault. And he says, the last few days have been a nightmare. What was wrong with me? Buying a bunch of guns all because of this money? I just want things to go back to normal. Like, again, I pointed out things that feel quaint. This feels pretty quaint, and in a way that, like, this is good. I feel like this is, I wish the real world was more like this, right? Where it's like, you just feel like you could grab someone and like shake him by the shoulders a little bit, and then they just kind of realize like, oh yeah, like
what was I doing?
Yeah, like a nightmare that you were living through, you know?
Yeah, yeah. If only it was that easy.
Yeah, if only it was.
And it reminds me, so in a bit later, like after the gunfire starts, Grimmer's like, damn, I knew we didn't stand a chance if they came at us with automatic weapons. And it just really reminds me, like, how much focus Monster puts on firearms and the power they hold. Like, a lot of series, like, guns are just things that are around. You just have them. Everybody just has them. Like, oh, you're a protagonist, you need an M16. You've got one. A lot of times they don't even like describe how you got the M16. They just have one. It's their protagonist gun. It comes standard issue. But in Monster, it's like every gun they have is extremely precious, and every gun that exists is incredibly dangerous. It really is a manga that recognizes that guns are a thing to take life with, and that sucks, actually.
Yeah. I mean, and at the same time, I 100% agree with you. And then on the next page, we get the most 90s action movie, most glass shattering that you've ever seen in a comic book, as this house is just blasted to smithereens. It's comical how many windows are shattering.
Yeah, it's a lot of shards. It's kind of impressive. It must have been a bitch to draw.
Oh, yeah, that looks terrible to me to draw. Not like it looks bad. It seems terrible to have drawn that.
Yeah. I love the bit. It is really cool when Papa talks about alternate personalities manifesting.
Right, because this was a thing when it first got flagged, we thought it was kind of goofy, but I think at this point it's justified itself. On this reading, I feel like I don't feel bad about this at all. This doesn't feel like a tacky. I mean,
no.
In a little bit, in some sense, just the idea of an alternate personality. But I don't think it's tacky. I think it's pulled off.
Well, the thing is, it's pulled off because this is actually how actual alternate personalities do manifest
extreme
in real people,
stress
because they do. Like, if you have enough trauma of the right kind and you're predisposed in one way or another as a child, you can like split yourself up as a coping mechanism. And it is specifically a childhood thing. What makes split personalities tacky to me is that generally, like, when a story tries to justify it, it does a bad job. It doesn't actually think about what really makes a person develop one. It is sensationalizing the hell out of it. In fact, I read a Batman comic from 2003 a few weeks ago that had it was a little subplot. I think it was Mensch, actually. It was a Mensch, and that shit sucked. That shit really sucked. It was actually a really perfect example of how to not do this exact thing.
Okay.
Man, that that was one of my least favorite Batman arcs ever, I think. Is it in Detective or Batman? Might have.
I feel like the worst ones are in Detective. Is the thing. Like, the worst offenders usually show up in Detective because it's like that's the one that DC doesn't think the people is reading.
You are not wrong. But anyway, so I think this works very well, and I like how he says that nearly all of those children that manifested alternate personalities committed suicide. It's amazing that you've survived this long.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting to think about what that means for Grimmer, I guess, to me.
Yeah. I mean, I do think this is another death flag, right? It's amazing that you've survived this long. But I mean, like, I think in some ways you could take his whole speech, right, when he said, "I'm not going to let you die," right? When he says, "You've taken all these things from me, like, I can't." Has he really been living? I guess it makes you think question to ask about it, right? Like, he hasn't killed himself, but like, has he ever really been alive?
This manga really makes you think like Spider-Man. Yeah. And then Gurren goes outside and, tries to talk them down, which is cool. This is a really cool move. And like you said, also kind of a very 90s thing to do.
Right.
To walk outside and just, like, talk up at the buildings where there's a sniper,
Yeah, well, it's the uncharitable read of this is it's when in Home Alone when Kevin McAllister goes out in front of his house and says, "Do you hear me? I'm not afraid of you," and is just shouting at his house. I mean, like that's not what this is, like obviously, but that comparison just jumped into my head, and I was like, can't let this go.
That is a fun read.
I think it's interesting that he specifically says, "I don't care if you're Nazis or ex-Stasi," which, like, have the Stasi been invoked before in this comic book? I mean, like, we've talked about the Czech secret police, but I don't think by name they have been, name checked.
They haven't been named, so it's just like this.
I was like,
thing.
oh, okay.
Ex-Stasi, yeah. I really like it when he says, "I'm not anyone special either."
Yeah.
That's a great panel. And then the next panel is just the buildings in the rain.
Oh, it's good.
Quiet. Oh,
maybe it worked.
So
that's the thing.
good.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, it's so good. And then the next double page. Fuck. Just like he sees Sausage Girl and he points up.
Mm-hmm. The little finger. Yeah.
The little finger, and then bam, she's fucking down.
Blammo.
Holy God, it's just really
I think the thing that does it for me is like how relieved she seems to see him, or how relieved she is to see him, right? Like,
and how cold his blood runs.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That she's there.
It's good. I
mean, like, how many different ways can we say it's good? Because, like, God, this shit's so
let's
good.
Let's get it. It's good count for me this episode. I've said it a lot.
Ding. Yeah.
Ding, ding,
there's
ding.
a lot of times to say it. Okay.
I did have one thing that I was going to say. It's a very quick note about what Wim says to Grimmer. He's like, "This is my dad. My dad is the one doing this." I think it's interesting that everyone has an idea of who or what is behind this, and everyone thinks it's their fault or it's personal to them.
Ooh,
right?
Wait, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's such a good pull, actually. It thinks it's his dad, and then like the fisherman and his wife think it's people after their fortune, and then
I mean, you could even say like the man whose wife has been shot is like he feels like this was like extremely personal to him and not just like a random act of. It's like this person came in and ruined my life. Like they did this to ruin my life.
And I think that's the kind of thing is that like, I don't know. Maybe it's just that everything a person does is personal.
Yeah.
In a way, like when bad things happen to you, they belong to you.
Yes.
And a bunch of people can be in the same situation and it'll belong to them in different ways. Maybe? I don't know. Just kind of like trying to work with this.
No, that makes sense.
Because it's really cool.
The other thought that I had was like, it just kind of, it seems counterintuitive that it's like people in this quiet, sleepy town really feel like it was about to boil over. Like everyone has a reason that they think that this is happening, and it was just barely under the surface. And all it took was Johan showing up with a couple of guns to just make this seemingly quiet mountain home, tear itself apart. Right.
And that's your king.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That is your king right
that
there.
It's just under the surface at all times,
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
Yep. Chapter 155. In the distant past, Grimmer remembers watching The Magnificent Steiner, but does not remember ever watching the final episode. And he asks himself if the Magnificent Steiner ever figured out that he, like, if the boy that was the Magnificent Steiner ever figured out his connection to it, and if he ever lived happily ever after. He screams his rage at the death of Sausage Girl. Sorry, Sausage Girl.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. And we move to the woods where the people Tenma saved are going through the woods, and they run into Rudy and Nina, and they tell Nina where Tenma is, and then they get into town, and we find Tenma. Tenma finds Sausage Girl, and somebody gets thrown out of a window. So he runs into that building, and he finds, shot and bloodied in a chair, Grimmer. And Grimmer says he took out 4 people in one way or another. And Tenma asks if the Magnificent Steiner came to the rescue. Grimmer says, no, he didn't show. I did it myself in a fit of rage. He gives Tenma a letter from Klaus Papa, although not addressed to Tenma. Lunga found it at the Red Rose Mansion, gave it to Grimmer to give to Tenma. And then Papa shows up, and Grimmer introduces the two of them. And Vim is there as well. And as he dies, Grimmer starts crying, and he says that he's sad. Not because he's going to die, but he's sad now that his son died. Human beings can't lose their emotions, he says. It's like someone wrote him a letter, and it arrived decades later. Is this true sadness? Is this happiness? In the final episode of The Magnificent Steiner, I'll bet he turned back into a human being. And Grimmer dies. And Vim and Papa both cry for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go back and forth on that final panel of them all just standing around. Like, this feels like a, why is Spider-Man crying? Kind of panel a little bit.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. There's something about it that's just a smidge too saccharine for me. I mean, like, it's good. It's a good death. Grimmer gets a good death. The thing I do like is Papa's little verbalizations. Like, as Grimmer has died, like, he's
crying.
Yeah, it's that he thought he was ready to deal with this, right? You know, the thing that we were saying was like, I'm ready, give me whatever I need. And it's like, but not this. Like, having to really come face to face with what he did.
Yeah.
You know? It's good. Yeah, I like that.
Like seeing somebody who he hurt so badly die in front of him, and it's all his fault. This whole thing is his fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know? My first note for this chapter is Sausage Girl died for our sins.
She died for someone's sins.
That is for sure. And also, like, I really like the few panels we get of the Magnificent Steiner TV show.
Oh, I love Grimmer in the Void watching the Magnificent Steiner show and then being pulled away by that, unseen arm and never getting to see the finale. Which, like, here's where I'm going to be old man for a little bit, because this really isn't even something that I got to experience. Like, it was already kind of over by the time that I was a media watching person. This idea that, like, a TV show could end and you just might not ever know how it ended, because, we didn't have the internet or DVDs or things like that. Like, I remember when I got into Gilligan's Island when I was in middle school, like, talking to my dad's older sister and being like I was watching through the show slowly. And I was like, do they get off the island at the end? And she's like, I don't know. I never saw the last episode. And
right. And that, like, you could miss the last episode.
Yeah. And just, if you didn't catch it, you never knew.
Scary thought. But I also like it. Yeah.
By the way, last episode of the Hulk show, it's one of those ones where it's like they didn't realize they were going to get canceled. So the last episode is just a normal episode. Which, fun little, like, convenient detail. The last couple episodes of that show are about the Incredible Hulk being in abandoned / cursed small towns. Like, where
yeah it is.
But the show ends, they make a bunch of follow-up TV movies a couple years later, and Hulk dies at the end of it is how that ends. So
that does make sense.
It's here.
I also like it visually. It's fun when Urasawa, like, depicts, like, older styles of art, which, again, that's something fun that'll come up in Billy Bat. I just like it when he does other stuff. got a great big old picture of Grimmer yelling.
Yeah. I do think I called out the phrase that he said, did the boy figure out that his own anger transformed him? Did he live happily ever after? Mm-hmm. And it's like, that's the end of Grimmer's arc, right? Like, he comes to the realization or acceptance that it's like, my anger is what did this to me, right? And that is interesting, I think, right? Where it's like his whole thing is, I don't have emotions, I don't have emotions, I don't have emotions. It's like, but the emotion that he does have is anger, right? Is like,
yes,
this
that is
kind
the
of,
one that he has like consistently throughout what we see of Grimmer. Like, it's the only emotion that we see him really have.
The way he responds to, Bonaparte saying, just let me die, like that angry response, right? Mm-hmm. And it's, I don't know, I the note that I wrote was, maybe is it like breaking that block between the Magnificent Steiner being like merging those two personalities back together is like mechanically what does this?
It's like, well, it's like, the thing about the separation, right, the compartmentalization, is it is pushing the feelings away from you because they're too intense to reconcile.
Okay.
Right? And so the whole point with Magnificent Steiner is he would black out because he would be feeling something so strongly, like he just couldn't handle it. And then, another side of himself would handle it. And so I guess what we're seeing here is like character growth or change here in some way, because, like he said, Steiner didn't show. He did it himself, right? The compartmentalization is over. He has accepted and integrated this fury and rage into himself, and he did not need to cut it away. He was able to be that all the way himself and do all the things that he normally would have done as Magnificent Steiner, but now he's conscious of them, right? And it's, the compartmentalization is over. And that's also why, as he's dying, he finally has access, right, to his other emotions, to his sadness and his happiness. He, by taking ownership of his anger and his emotions, he was able to access all of them again.
Yeah. We're going to have to, in the final episode, we're going to have to talk about the idea of sending letters, because that has suddenly, like from the last reading, become like a big motif.
Definitely.
Because, I mean, we've talked about stories, we've talked about a bunch of stuff, but letters is a new one, kind of.
Yeah. And it's also interesting that he's talking about this, a letter arriving decades later, as he gives a letter to Tenma written decades ago.
Yeah.
So that is an interesting thing to kind of happen at the same time. But yeah, no, I think that Grimmer's death is one of the best moments in the whole series.
It's good. I was a little sad, that it was like, this was the end of his arc, but like, it was never going to end any other way. I'm glad he got to cry for the death. I do like that note, right, where he's not crying because he's afraid to die. He's finally getting to cry about like the thing that has defined his adult life, right?
Yeah. Human beings can't lose their emotions. That's also a very, very important thing to say, because Grimmer saying this right now in this way means that the manga is telling us that this is true, right?
Yeah, this is like a plea. Right? Like, human beings can't lose their emotions, but also it's like a statement. It's like, he didn't lose his emotions. You can't lose your emotions. So it's, it works on a couple different levels, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And it also means that, like, it means that Johann didn't lose his emotions. Mm-hmm. Roberto hasn't lost his emotions. It's saying, in a way, that at least one kind of monster isn't real, or that all these experiments ever did was fuck people up. Mm-hmm. None of them ever actually were
successful.
Yeah, like, all they succeeded in doing was fucking people over and like just ruining their ability to be healthy people, but it did not make them not people.
Mm-hmm. Fictional characters, you're still people.
Yeah. Just it's one of my favorite death scenes also, just in
okay.
general.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I'm more up on it than you, I think. I just think I think the last panel is important specifically because of Papa crying.
Yeah, I agree. You know? I think that's an important moment.
Yeah.
Fun note. When Rudy and Nina run into the people in the forest, did you make note of the thing that Rudy says when they're talking about the Asian man with long hair running around saving everyone? He says, "That Asian man is my friend." It's just, it made me laugh.
that Asian man. I think it's just that they don't know that the guy's name is Tenma.
Yeah, I know.
I think is why he's saying it, but it is funny.
That Asian man is my friend. It's just a funny phrase.
Yeah. Me pointing at my Asian friend. that Asian man is my friend. Like the one sentence I learned in Japanese. Did I ever tell you? I feel like if I don't, did I mention this? I must have mentioned this really early in the podcast. You tell me if I talked about this. When I went to visit Prague, I figured I should know a little bit of Czech, but I didn't have time to actually learn any workable Czech. So I was like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to learn one functional sentence, and it's going to be fun. And because it was 2019, I learned the phrase "Good evening, cuckold."
What?
It was 2019, and cuck was a really funny word / concept. So I learned how to say it in Czech, and it is "Dobrý večer, parovači." And so it was my little party trick when I was over there.
Yourself. Yeah,
exactly. So I would be.
You do a dorkier version of The Machine, the Bert Kreischer stand-up bit, The Machine.
What?
I'm not going to explain it.
Okay. Yeah, that's too much of a tangent. But so I would be hanging out with Lucy and her friends, and she'd be like, Quinn, say the thing. And I would say it, and every time it got a great response. Well, but just think about it, right?
That is pretty funny.
Think about it the other way around,
yep.
Right? Like somebody comes over here, they're Czech, they don't speak a word of English, and then their friend turns to them and says something in a language you don't speak, and then they say in like, apparently I had a Russian accent, and then they say in like Russian accented English or whatever, like maybe like a New York accent, like a perfect New York accent, they say, "What's up, cuck?" And it's just like out of nowhere.
You've sold me on it. This is funnier than because I just
her
made a
grandparents
face of horror.
Really liked it.
Okay, that's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah. So I wasn't expecting to do it for her grandparents. So it was a good time. Anyway, I don't think I did mention on the podcast, and that's wild.
That's a new story. Yeah,
you would think I would have said that a long time back. But there you go. That's the story about the
one
Czech
phrase
I knew when I was
Czech.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a little bit more now. Okay, and we're back from a bio break, and actually, I feel a little bit more awake. Now I finished off the rest of the collards. We slightly oversalted them. Let me tell you guys, I don't know why I just got the feeling like I'm a real like radio DJ type all of a sudden. Let me tell you guys, collard greens, well, they shrink up way more than you think. Like you work with cabbage, you work with your leafy greens. Like sure, all of them shrink up, and you think you know. You're starting to make collards and you think you know how far they're going to go. But those motherfuckers really, they just kind of vanish.
They disintegrate.
Well, they don't disintegrate. They just get so small. Mm-hmm. Really, like, we have, like, two Batman. But the other thing is that they're dumb easy to make. Absolutely stupid easy to make some decent collards. So, anyway. None of you guys know the joys of some simmered collard greens.
Love them.
Get that shit in your life. That's some of the best stuff the South ever came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, that stuff rocks. Maybe one of my favorite vegetable sides.
Oh, okay.
Like top 5, top 3 even. It's like collard greens.
I'm an okra person.
Green beans. Never got a taste for okra.
Yeah.
Never managed that one. Okay. But yes, we're good. We're in fighting fit. And we're ready for the second leg of this marathon. Matt, do you want to jump us in on page
156?
Not page, chapter 156.
Yeah, the Nameless Man. Lunga enters Roberto's room and moves into the bathroom, flinging open the shower to find it empty. He whips around, scanning the hotel room for Roberto, but can't find him before he's shot, right in the shoulder. He tumbles over a chair and drops his gun, panting and bleeding. So you're Roberto. I don't really have a name. Boom! With a gunshot, we cut back to the hotel Versteck. Tenma has carried Grimmer's body across the street and everyone mourns. Tenma heads back out into the street, and Papa takes a gun and follows him. Tenma opens and reads the letter Lunga found at the Red Rose Mansion from Papa/Bonaparte, and Papa sadly explains that he wrote the letter because he fell in love with the twins' mother and changed his mind about the experiment, killing everyone who knew about it, about her, and about the twins. The two sadly walk into the rain. We cut back. The shot was Lunga's. He fired his service weapon through the chair directly into Roberto's gut. Lunga stands and levels his gun at the bleeding Roberto, asking who he is, where Johann is, and why Roberto is so loyal to him. Roberto laughs and recites Lunga's history, taunting him with how far he's fallen in his chase for Tenma. He then starts talking about Lunga's family and how his wife has gotten remarried to a man who makes her very happy and acts as a grandfather to Lunga's grandson. This is the taunt that crosses the line. Lunga steps a bit too close and Roberto grabs him. The two have a huge, violent fight, kicking and punching, flipping and tumbling around the room. Roberto throws Lunga into a wall and then sits on his chest, strangling him, monologuing about how he has no name, no country, no memories, until Johann found him and helped him remember just one thing. We cut back to the Versteck, where Wim sadly remembers Grimmer and the story he told about his one memory of a friend, Adolf Reinhardt, who loved bugs, but not killing them, and loved the hot cocoa they got every week at Kinderheim 511. We cut back to Roberto, and surprise, surprise, this is the memory that Johann helped him remember. Hot cocoa.
This sucks.
I mean, it does, but as I've just read it out, I'm like, damn, hell yeah, hard as fuck. I mean, it does suck. It's so goofy. It's so goofy.
You made it sound good. But look, it sucks. You're taking this really, really cool character and just, like, tying him in at the end in honestly what feels like a clumsy way. I like Roberto, international man of mystery.
Yeah.
You know, like the Adolf Reinhardt, he didn't need it. That's the fucking thing.
I mean, because it feels like they seized on the wrong part of the, because Roberto has that speech. I think it's back when he's first revealed, I have no country, right? And it's like, it feels like you've seized on the wrong part of the mysterious past and made it unknown past. I don't exist. So I totally agree with you there. I think it's goofy and unnecessary. On the other hand, I do like that he is also monstrified. that Roberto is another one. Another one.
Yeah. And there is, and there is still something to like, fuck, Johann got this one. He got him.
Yeah.
It's really...
You're right, because immediately after we've had, from the same class at Kinderheim 511, immediately after we've had Grimmer redeem himself, we have the other side of the coin. Roberto here, full monster, just blasting people,
Yeah, absolutely.
You're right. The first time I read it, I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, what a stupid plot development.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever fully like it.
No.
It's definitely, I think it's my least favorite thing in this volume.
Okay.
Personally, this is my big, like, thumbs down for the finale of Monster.
Okay. I think you're going to be surprised at what my big thumbs down ends up being.
Down is?
Yeah.
Interesting. We have another outside gunshot.
Yep. This was the counter. I think we're up to 2.5. Because one of them wasn't a gunshot, it was rain. But I was like, that's the same effect. We've cut to an outside shot while people are holding guns at each other,
Right.
The thing that reveal does allow that I like is the exchange that I read. So you're Roberto. I don't really have a name. Like, cool, good, hard. And then...
Yeah, that shit does rule.
The way that Lunga is like, tell me your name. I want to know the name of the man who's behind all of this, or the name of the man who's going to kill me, right? I don't remember exactly what it is that he says.
Yeah.
Dude, it's good. All of the action in this chapter is so sick. Like from the
really good.
From the like recreation of the big scene in Psycho at the beginning, right? Like as Lunga enters the bathroom and, you know, a shower scene, to yeah, I mean them tumbling around, like that big fight, like Lunga getting thrown into a wall and then sat on. Like it is
rough.
We haven't had a fight like this where it's just two big dudes wailing on each other.
Yeah, and we've got some diagonal panel borers here too. This fight's intense enough that it's earned them. Yeah, that fight is so kinetic. And
I love it.
It's hard hitting. You know, it's got impact. It's really cool. Yeah. I think the only other note that I had for this chapter was that it feels, you know, it really. We're talking about the Devil's Apprentice, but obviously, you know.
Like, good note.
Like, I think it's Roberto. Like, he's the real apprentice of Johann.
Because he does the Johann move here, right? Where he spells out your past to you as a way to manipulate you. Yeah.
And this actually, unlike the other guy's half-assed shit.
It works,
you know,
here.
Exactly. Yeah, it worked.
I mean, it gets Lunga to step, you know, not... in an incredible display of emotion from Lunga, right? Like telling him, shut up. Like, extremely, like, kind of shocking to see that this is how he's reacting to this, you know?
Definitely. Yeah.
But.
So, good job, Roberto. You got him.
Good job, Roberto.
Yeah, and, okay. Yeah, I mean, we talked about before about how some of the chapters in this reading are just tiny. This is a tiny one. This is just, like,
it is
a little thing, but it's dense.
Yeah, the Tenma reading this man his private journal as they walk and talk is kind of wild. Like, that's gotta be just the most embarrassing shit ever.
Yeah, with all that sad, like, man, like, you just, like, Klaus is just, like, closing his eyes, like, oh God.
Make it stop. Yeah.
You found my poetry.
Yeah.
You found my cringe poetry, you know.
I
mean, there is that. What do you think about what Klaus says here about? I fell in love with the
Well, that, like, you know, him falling in love, whatever. I don't know how I feel about that, but I do like, you know, he says that, you know, he decided he needed to end it, and he killed everyone who was involved with the experiment. He did his best to erase it. He's doing this is the thing again, right? Like, if you erase the past, does it become fiction? Right? And, like, he couldn't bear living with this thing that he did, so he tried to make it be something that wasn't real.
Yeah, tried to make it go away. Yeah, and it didn't work, and it never works. You know, you go down to the revenge, and it's not working, and it never works every time you go. All right, and we're back. We just took a little break of about a week.
Another, just a very...
just a quick one, you know, got
quick
some
little
snacks.
one.
Yeah, bio break there.
Yeah.
Matt, do you want to talk about the nature of the break?
I mean, I can a little bit. Well, about like that I thought that maybe the computer had obliterated the whole episode for a second. Yeah. So I got we took a bio break and then like got back into recording. And I got a phone call that I had been expecting, but I thought it was going to come a little bit later than it did. Had to pick up. So my I use my phone as the camera when we do these calls. Because listeners, we can see each other. I know that's very confusing because you can't see us. But when we record these episodes, we're on a video call. So picked up the phone, which left Quinn with like a frozen image of me making kind of like a shocked face, I think.
It's a good face, yeah.
Or like it's a pretty good face. So
I like how you described the concept of a video call to the audience. Like, now, listeners, we're kind of early adopters of this brand new technology. You know, don't get too jealous.
Well, that's just like for me, because as a podcast listener, I like it when the hosts kind of offer little windows into what their recording setup looks like. Like, if they are on a video call or not, because like there's
a lot of
there's an
podcasts
important
that don't do it on video calls? That seems
well,
like
there's
it
an
would be
important
difficult.
moment in Homestuck Made This World that hinges on the fact that they don't usually have video call, and then Michael turns his camera on.
Oh,
And
that's
that,
right. That's right. I
yeah.
remember that. Yeah, that is a good bit.
So I think it's a, like, part of it I do as a joke, right? Because it's one of everyone's favorite podcast joke is when we make visual jokes in an audio medium and then say the phrase, that visual joke will play very well in this audio medium.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There is something about it that I think is interesting. Not particular, not like really, really. It's kind of like boring interesting, I think is the thing.
I know
anyway,
what you mean. It is boring
but
interesting.
I picked up this call. I was on the call for a while, and then got off the call, was about to get right back onto the line to record with Quinn, and like as I was walking towards my computer chair to sit down, the computer crashed. And I said, "Oh no."
Oh no. Man, can you imagine halfway through the fucking final episode?
Yeah, if we lost it.
Oh my, that would have been just the worst. This
So
is also a less than
thankfully,
ideal circumstance, but
it's
is
not
not
great,
the worst.
but it's not the worst. It's several degrees from the worst it could have been. But the recording was safe. We just had to. Then we were both busy for the rest of the week and over the weekend.
Oh
so
man,
yeah,
long week.
we are finally back.
Oof.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy. But yeah, so that's what's up with us, listeners. Sorry, this episode's coming out late. When we started recording, we didn't know it would be late, but here we are.
we didn't think it was gonna be this late, but
Yeah.
you live, you learn.
I mean, indeed. We have lived and we have learned, and we are about to do chapter 157, because you guys already had the preamble, so we're not going to do that again.
Yeah. Did we finish
just gonna jump
156?
right in.
I mean, we're just gonna say we finished
I
156.
think let me flip through it. Let's see.
Because what I listened to, it was the last thing from me is making a comment that's from my 156 notes. So we were near the end of it if we weren't about to move on to 157.
Yeah, we have the good fight with Roberto.
Very good
right,
fight.
And then it's the hot cocoa, and then we were talking
Right.
about Alfred. Was that his name?
Roberto.
Adolf. It was Adolf
Reinhardt. Yeah. But yeah,
Well,
and I
we
think
love
kind
that
of where
hot
we came
cocoa.
down, just in case we didn't get into the full conversation on that previous one, I think both of us were like, this didn't need to be a reveal that happened. This is kind of a weird one.
Yeah.
In a lot
And
of
Matt
ways, like the
liked
fact
it more
that
than I did.
yeah, I like the fact that Grimmer apparently told this story to Wim. I think was the other thing that just feels a little weird, right? Because that would have been a pretty significant thing to happen off screen.
It is a significant thing to happen on screen, off screen. If it had happened on screen, it would have been fine. That would have been like, oh, Grimmer thinks he's going to die. He's going to tell the story to keep this guy's memory alive. That would have been pretty effective. Hearing about it after the fact is not nearly as effective. It's like 15% as effective. But
because I think we made the joke. It's the Tumblr, and that man was Albert Einstein thing. Yeah.
And that man. Yeah, totally. Okay, so chapter 157 is called Undrawable Pictures. Klaus Papa, as he walks through the rain, remembers in Germany in 1986, seeing the Liebert twins on the television and going to visit the Lieberts, and remembers going to see them. Then he leaves, and we go through a quick montage of the events of that fateful night. Klaus Papa just ruminates, talks about how he's responsible for a monster, and Tenma says, I brought that monster back to life, and they walk into the ring. Meanwhile, Roberto is strangling Lunga and gives him a monologue about Johann's plan, how he's gonna show Tenma that wasteland of loneliness when he's the only one alive. And then he gets ready to finish off Lunga, but then Lunga gets his thumb in Roberto's gunshot wounded. Man, that shit rules. Lunga turns the tables on him. Answer me, where's Johann? Nina and Rudy are walking through the streets. They find the hotel, and And oh fuck, Vim recognizes Nina from the drawings in the vampire's house, and is like, yeah, I found these drawings that look just like you. They're at the vampire's house, and we see the cabin as Johann looks menacingly at the camera. Whew.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think about, especially since the title of this chapter is Undrawable Pictures, and kind of
pictures.
So the conclusion that Papa comes to, right, is the reason there's so many of these different versions of the pictures, and it was something that I think Lunga and Grimmer said, right? It was like he couldn't seem to get it quite right. There's something that's right. He couldn't do it. He thought there was something wrong with them, and then he says that too. Like, I couldn't get him to turn out right, but nevertheless, Wim is able to say, "Oh yeah, those were pictures of Nina," right?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not that he wasn't trying to draw the twins. He drew the twins perfectly fine. What he was trying to draw was an ideal picture of the twins surrounded by love.
Right.
But he couldn't do it because he knew that there was no such thing.
Yeah, and I think it's probably that I read into it, I think, too much here, right? Is he can't imagine that world where they're surrounded by love. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But when someone who's only seen those pictures of something that supposedly doesn't exist, right? He can still recognize Nina, right? She is surrounded by love. You know, by all these connections and stuff. I don't know. I think that maybe I want there to be more there. I think there's probably a piece or two missing to get from A to B, like from what the text says to kind of how I want to read it.
I see what you're saying, but like, I guess I see what you're saying, and I will corroborate. Let me adjust, and I think we'll have the right landing point, which is that he was incapable of conceiving it.
There we go.
You know, like, but Nina was surrounded by love.
Yeah.
And even Johann was. Many times did Johann find people that honestly loved him, but he just didn't fucking care about them.
Yeah, maybe that's the more interesting part, right? Is like, so the last time that he sees them, it's when they're in, you know, they have supposedly settled with a happy family, right? And it's still, he can't, it doesn't seem right. It's not, he can't imagine it. It's interesting.
You know, and it's this, I guess this kind of this idea of like, I think it is wild how little we actually learn about Papa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, like, what was his childhood like? What about his parents? You know, like, and obviously you can ride that. It's trauma all the way down, right? It's trauma elephants all the way down. So you have to decide how many elephants you're willing to descend.
Mm-hmm.
But since it does seem to be Papa who is the motivating factor for this entire story, we could have stood just a little bit of his goals, his whys and wherefores. Like, what's up with this supremely depressed little man?
Yeah, I think it's weird and interesting because most of the interactions that we have with him throughout the story is Nina's image of him reaching toward this horrifying thing of human beings can become anything. And then kind of the big turn at the end of, or as we finish Klaus Papa's arc, is we get the full thing. This is after he's done the thing so that they can run away, so he can erase this horrible thing that they've done. Human beings can become anything, so you have to becom something good. You have to run away from this.
Which is, I mean, that is a very...
It's a weird turn, right? It feels very sudden.
Also, I didn't mention that before, but it reminds me a lot of Nietzschean anti-nihilism, which is, you know, if nothing we do matters, then all that matters is what we do. You know, there's no larger meaning to anything, so being good to people in the here and now is the most meaningful act. And this just reminds me a lot of that, right? Human beings can become anything. We can choose to be or do anything. So what you choose to be matters.
To me, I think that's probably the best read because it's not a huge turn from, you know, Johann's dollar store Nietzsche, right? Where it's like nothing matters. It's you take the smallest possible step and then you're able to get to, like you said, it's because nothing matters, everything that we do matters.
That's true.
Right?
But you know what? I forgot that Johann had the dime store Nietzsche. So this honestly, now that, since there's two things here that really seem to be approaching that same concept, I think we can actually say this might be intentional, that Urasawa may have consciously been evoking Nietzsche. Because
probably.
if it's one time, that's one thing. But two times?
That's probably
two
something.
Things.
Yeah.
I mean, we need a third to really cement that in, but it's something to think about. And I'm not saying that I'm some philosopher or whatever, but this is just
I've
something
not read any philosophy.
I'm mildly familiar with. So yeah. Anyway, but I also think it's a cool. I just love that moment. I'm sure we talked about it plenty last time, but I love that human beings can become anything, so you need to be good.
It's very good because it turns this thing that is scary into something that's, I mean, it's still a scary image, right? And it's like, it's the end of this, it's the end of a bad thing and the beginning of more bad stuff.
Yeah. Oh, great, this guy,
but it completely reformats like this thing that has been kind of central to the back half of
goals,
the story.
It changes what he wants out of things. But I think ultimately that's still what I don't understand about Papa is what started all this for him. Why was he doing these experiments? Was it out of curiosity? Was it patriotism? Literally, what was it? A lot of other people tell him what he's doing, but
unfortunately, I think some of the supplementary material digs into this in a way that, that's what I caught some of and was like, ugh, I hate this.
Okay.
But I think from what you said, the other thing that kind of popped into my head as you were talking about what is his backstory, what is his goals. I think the very least we can assume is this dude probably did not have it good. There's some bad stuff in his past, right? And so I think it kind of gets to, there's this idea, right, with, people who have rough childhoods. It's this thing, it's like you always want your kids to have better, right? And it's like, Johan and Nina obviously aren't his kids, but he is kind of like a father figure in their background a little bit.
He wanted them to be his kids.
Right, he did. And we haven't even talked about, Lipsky and how he abandons his actual child, right?
Man, what's up with Papa's wife? Who was his wife?
I don't know. But I think it's this, he has this hope that things are better, but he can't see beyond where he is, I think is the thing.
I think that is a very good way to encapsulate Papa, right? He's a guy who looks back on his life and his short-sightedness and knows enough to regret it, but has not taken those extra steps to really understand it. He's just stuck on the self-loathing.
Yeah. And that's we did talk about that, right? Like he's just been hiding out here, and I'm ready to die. He's not ready to do any of the real work. Yeah,
right. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So with that, back to chapter 157. I really like the bit where we have these. Papa says, "I created a monster," and then on the next page, Tenma slowly turns around. He gets 2 whole panels just to turn around, and he says, "I brought that monster back to life."
Yeah.
And that's just these two guys that both feel responsible, for stuff that frankly, how responsible are they really? Nina turned out pretty fine. Not that Papa has not done awful things, but it is also just at a certain point, Johan,
I guess that's interesting. Yeah, I've never really stopped to consider that, I've just kind of taken it as text the same way that in the beginning I was like, this boy has to die. I think I've taken Tenma's kind of flawed belief that this is his fault at face value. And for a while Nina was running around saying it was her fault too.
Well, there's a lot of self-blame for all kinds of shit in this manga. Yeah. And in point of fact, look at it this way. Johan is a victim of the same thing, because Johan's whole deal is that he buys into his own shtick.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He blames himself.
Oh, yeah.
He blames himself for the death of these people, and sure, but he blames himself for the way that he is. And of course, if you see yourself as a monster that way, you're not going to feel the urge to change. You're just well, I guess this is how I am. Or, look at all of the people that we met in kind of the first part. We have that mercenary, we have Rosso.
Right.
There's or the doctor. In point of fact, hold on. There's a lot of people that we meet that have transgressed in some way, that are specifically grappling with that transgression and what it means. about them and how to do something else.
I
You
don't
know,
know. We
all of
can
these
even
people,
go forward to
yeah.
who was the guy from Czech who lived in the house and tried to
Yeah.
assassinate.
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot of people. Yeah. We were talking about murder, and yes, it is an exploration of murder, but it's also an exploration of guilt and
Mm-hmm.
what it means to blame yourself for things that may or may not have been inside of your control.
I mean,
And also,
Martin
yeah.
too. He's another one, right? Like, okay, this is now we need to think about guilt
Yeah,
as
yeah, yeah,
we,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
We're really or Lunga and how he interacts with his family.
right.
You know,
In the
there's the
very
fact,
last minute, we're finding
yeah,
the theme of this story.
yeah,
the probably the most obvious theme we've somehow just not really dug into. I mean,
maybe,
aside from just like we say, oh, we think that it's
yeah.
interesting that they grapple with this guilt, but like
But now
not
we're seeing
really. It's everyone.
it's
I mean, Richard,
yeah.
he shot that kid. Everyone in this story, every single character has something that they feel ashamed and guilty of.
I don't know though, because what about Reichwein?
Maybe not Reichwein. He might be the only. Well, I mean, he feels bad that Richard got murdered, and that Tenma is like having to deal with this.
I don't know if he blames himself so much for that. I don't know. Like I think it's.
I guess a sweeping statement that every single character is not quite true.
Then there's Ava. Fuck me. I mean, Ava. Oh my. Oh yeah, like you said, Martin. Oh.
Yeah.
This is all over. This is absolutely all over the place.
Yeah, I think it's the because the other thing that I would say is for a lot of these characters, their regret, their guilt led to like a life change and reconnecting or connecting differently or things like that, right? And I think to me that's almost what.
Well, you also see people. I mean, but then we're also contrasted with people that I guess regret over past actions is history. Right,
yeah.
so it's feeding into it's just concomitant with the
Our
theme
history
of
and consequences.
history and consequences,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
right? So your past is the history, and then regret is the consequences. And so when we see people that are, we see people who do not feel the regret, but they feel consequences in other ways. You cannot actually erase history. You just end up with different consequences than regret.
Yeah.
It's But everyone in this story is beholden to the past.
I mean, the two crooked cops. Like, I just keep thinking of more. The more that I sit here and think about it, it's everyone.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, and I don't even know if there's any like major conclusions to be drawn from this. It's just something that is so massive in the story. It's it's if what we're talking about here is history and consequences as a core, like, motif or structure for the thing, regret is kind of how that is expressed through the characters.
Yeah.
And how all of these different characters are tied into kind of this central thing of the story.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess according to that, right? Like you said, the consequence. So there's two pieces to that. There's regret, and then from that we have Nina's thing, right? Which like her whole story has been kind of the memory has been erased or hidden or whatever. Yeah. So like the history is gone. She's cut off from that history. And Johan's whole thing is if you cut off everyone's connections and history and stuff, they cease to exist. And then from the other side, it's I guess Johan is I don't know. I need to think about this a little bit more. I know. And I'll have my big thesis in the final episode. But this was a fun thing to think about.
Well, and then you have Rudy, right, who was also
tape recorder.
He was rocking tape recorder.
Uh-huh.
And the other thing about Rudy is that when we first met him, the cheating.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The regret there. So he also
and how
had
much
his own
that
regret.
Defined his present. Yeah.
Right.
And his relationship to Tenma. Yeah.
Reichwein is fairly unique for not having anything to regret. Otto is not. He has no regret, but he also is a criminal.
He has no consequences either. Yeah, he's just kind of like a fun little. He floats from thing to thing.
But Reichwein, I think, is really, really interesting when we look at it through this lens, because what he is a person who specializes in this topic. As a therapist, he specializes in in working
helping
directly
people come
with
to terms with
history and
this.
consequences,
Yeah.
you know, and so that is why Reichwein is one of the most relentlessly positive characters in the whole story, because he is a symbol of being able to consciously work with this stuff.
Yeah.
And that is the path to freedom, I guess, is kind of what this story is saying, is that
I think so.
Like therapy and facing your past and forgiving yourself. Yeah. You know, that's how you make it through. Man, what a thing to pick up in the 11th hour. Like, woo, man, that's fucking wild.
Yeah,
so fun. I don't have a lot of other notes for this chapter except that I love thumb in the wound.
Oh,
like,
it's such a good like fight
media,
scene
awesome.
thing. Yeah, great.
You know, and it's great for making you wince because you're just like, oh, it really makes you go, that's gotta hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it's a good fight scene, and Roberto gets some good stuff in there. I called out the line that he says, "I want to see what Johan saw." And how Tenma is like, Johan has said Tenma's the one who's gonna get to see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's something cool and sinister about that.
Absolutely. I also love the line Lunga gets. Johan's plan, the hard drive in my head says that plan doesn't add up. What a line! What a one-liner! Holy shit!
Well, unfortunately, I have to inform you that the hard drive doesn't have any math capacity. That hard drive is just storage.
That's
so
not
if he'd said the computer in my head, it would have. But when that one came up, I was like, oh,
That's not what a hard drive
as I
does.
say, well, actually, and push my glasses up onto my face. But it's hard. It's good. I love it.
Totally. We have the fucking return of the ants. The ants again.
I really wish they'd gone with puppets. I think instead of ants is where I landed.
Just watching it all from a distance like a line of ants, and my note is not the ants again. LMFAO. Yeah. You know, it's just so silly to have this fucking image back again when we least expected it, and at the time when maybe it's the least apropos. Like, that has nothing to do with what's going on, my man.
Mm-hmm.
Urasawa just really liked this one.
Couldn't let it go.
He just couldn't. Yeah, I don't think I had anything else.
Okay, I gotta grab the book off the shelf. I forgot to get it before we started.
My man's been bookless?
Yeah.
Goddamn. Well, he's getting that. Let me see him. I don't know about y'all, there's a new chapter of Vinland Saga out. Vinland Saga, pretty good. A lot to say, actually. Vinland Saga and Monster. A good amount to say to each other, you know, pacifism. Doing harm. Oh, Matt's back. Hi, Matt.
Yeah, hey. Vinland Saga's been on my list. That's something that I gotta get to sooner or later.
So good.
Okay, let's see. I am getting to 158. Don't cry. Wim's dad roams the streets of Ruinheim, looking for his son among the dead, despondently screaming that the devil is in this town. Rudy and Nina arrive at the vampire's house, but they're too late. Johan was here, but he's already gone. Rudy comments that the pictures are all unfinished and wonders what Johan thought. Nina slips into one final remembered memory trance. Looking at the pictures, remembering a room full of dead people, the terror, everyone drinking wine and dying, and then calling for her mother. Rudy realizes what's happening and pulls out his tape recorder and begins to record. Nina describes running home to Johan and telling him that the two of them have to stay alive and stay together, and asks why he's crying and tells him not to cry, and then begins screaming, "Don't cry," before passing out. When she reawakens from the trance, she tells Rudy that Johan was crying in this room, and crying just like the day that he cried the rainy night that she shot him. She tells Rudy that she believes if she'd forgiven him, this wouldn't have happened, and all these people wouldn't have died. She thinks maybe it's too late, but this time she has to forgive him. Johan's gone into town to finish everything. We cut back to Tenma and Papa, roaming the streets, each with a gun. Tenma tells Papa that he's going to go in and says cover him from the outside, But first, they have to save Inspector Lunga. Wim runs up behind the two of them and says that Nina came looking for him, and she's gone to the house. Tenma realizes Nina is here, and Papa has an emotional moment where he realizes that she goes by Nina now and says that it's a very fine name. To which Wim responds with something that Papa has told him frequently: cherish your name. Tenma and Papa share like a meaningful look, and Wim asks about his dad. He's been running around town looking for him, but can't find him anywhere. And then all of a sudden, the two turn around, and Johann's standing there in the rain, walking towards them. Tenma shouts at Papa to take Wim and hide, and levels his gun at Johann, remembering his training. 2 shots, always fire twice, and your chances of killing skyrocket. He prepares to pull the trigger and gets blasted from somewhere off screen.
I think that's actually at the start of the next chapter. I think this chapter ends with him just raising the gun.
Is it really?
Yeah, it ends with that gunshot. It ends with another cutaway gunshot.
No, well, he's leveling his gun. No, he gets shot. He collapses. How does it end mid-page? Is the last panel we finally meet, or is it?
Wait. Oh, we finally meet. Oh, sorry. I don't think he got shot. I think Tenma just got pushed over.
He got pushed over?
Yeah, he gets pushed over because Papa just pushed him over so that he can. Sorry, I was reading something else while you were summarizing.
Okay.
Yeah, it ends on the next page because you see Tenma just got pushed over, and then Papa raises his gun to shoot Johann, and then the chapter ends with just a gunshot.
Okay, there we go.
Sound effect. There we go.
Sweet.
Yes.
Friends, if you couldn't tell, that was another live summary. Sorry to have so many of them here at the end.
So it goes. We're here. We're doing it. We're fucking. We're getting there. My God. Yes. This chapter. I don't like the reverie. I think the.
I'm tired of it.
I'm really tired of it. Like, once is enough. More than that is just like, you're overdoing it. It's so 90s. It is not realistic.
And it's really, really, really diminishing returns. Like, every new detail that she learns is just like, okay,
it's
all
not,
right.
It's like there's not anything to reveal anymore. Like, that's the thing. That's what made these kind of exciting when they did work, is that we're like, okay, so there's this fucking thing, and then, oh, she's gonna find out something new. She doesn't remember anything meaningfully new this time, and how could she? You know, we've gotten all our shit done with. You know, she has some, like, realizations afterwards, but she did not need the reverie to do it.
Yeah,
and
I just think there's some cheap heat to, like, Nina's eyes going wide and then her passing out, right? Like, that's a move that has happened a bunch now.
It's cool that she falls, like, to her knees specifically.
Yeah.
It's a good panel. But I don't like the reverie. The art in general in this chapter is really, really good. It's good all over this last volume, but I really like the shots of the cabin. I love the shot at the start of Vim's dad in the street. You know,
I love that.
The devil's in this town.
The devil's in this town.
That panel is so good. It's dumb. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about this chapter. Sorry. If I hadn't shot him, if I'd forgiven him, this wouldn't have happened.
Do we think that that's true, or do we just think that this is like...
I mean, granted, if she hadn't shot him, things probably would have turned out better.
Yeah.
Sure. But
so,
yeah.
The forgiveness, do we think this is like it's a survivor's guilt thing, right? Where she's trying to tell him that it's not his fault that she was the one that went there? Is that the forgiveness?
No. She's talking right now. She's talking about forgiving...
forgiving him for murdering their parents? Like the Lieberts?
Yeah, yes. You know, if she had not shot him that night.
Okay.
For killing the Lieberts and other folk.
I guess
but
because
obviously
his belief
he was already murdering people. He had already killed at least 4 adults by this point.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and it seems like his operating theory is the two of us have to exist together alone, and that's it. And I think, is this her saying, like, well, if I just bought into that, then none of this would have happened. If I'd gone along with it.
She seems to think, but that's obviously not true. You know.
Yeah.
You know, forgiveness is clearly an important thing here, but this just strikes me as Nina not being like I think maybe this is her. This is kind of subtextual, but I think this is her forgiving herself for shooting Johann.
Okay.
And saying, it's too late, but this time. And just,
Yeah.
letting go and being like, even if he's not worthy of forgiveness, I will forgive him because that's the only way to do anything meaningful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. That works for me. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Do you have any notes of your own about this chapter?
I like the moment where Bonaparte, says her name is Nina. She goes by Nina. What a fine name.
Yeah.
I like that. It works for me for some reason. And then Wim's little thing, right? And Tenma, just that is a signifier of like how different this man is from the guy who we know wrote The Nameless Monster. While still being the same guy.
Absolutely.
It's good.
Cool.
But that's all I've got for 58.
Yeah, 158. Not a super busy chapter. Yeah, and then Johann just shows up. He stands up. The Among Us theme plays. Fucking. I don't know it well enough to sing it, but like you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Or however it goes.
It is just funny seeing him standing there. It's a great panel. I think my last note is that so the chapter ends with a gunshot cutaway, but they were already outside. So he couldn't cut to the outside of the building. He had to cut to the road.
It's good.
It's the same move. It's so funny. All right. 159. A vision of the end. The gunshot was Klaus Papa getting shot in the throat. He's dead. Nina is running through town trying to find Papa. And this is where we see the flashback where we find out that human beings can become anything, so don't become a monster. I guess that's what that river.
I pulled it early. Stupid. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it had already happened.
No, I mean we did that because it's incredibly important to reading this entire volume. Is why we pulled it early. But here's where it happens. It happens in chapter 159. Papa's dead. Roberto got him. Don't know what happened to Lunga, but here's Roberto. Roberto walks over to Johann, keels over, and asks to be shown the end. Johann says, no, it's not for you. And Roberto dies. So, there goes that. Dr. Tenma has the shot lined up. And Johann gives him another spiel about how we're all only really equal in death. And he does the forehead touch thing. And we're treated to a gorgeous 2-page spread of Tenma and Johann in the wasteland. Very cool, very thematic. And as Tenma's hands shake, Nina asks him not to shoot. And she forgives Johann. And he's like, bro, it's too late. I can't go back. Tenma has to shoot me. And then somehow, he's gotten a hold of Wim and has a gun to him. And as Tenma's about to shoot him, there is a shot. And Johann falls over and is lying in the rain.
Yeah, that last page is really good because it's
so good.
It's the top half is the rainy street with Johann's body and like the splash that he's made as he's fallen, and then it just kind of bleeds down into slowly fades out just into empty white page with no bottom border on the panel.
Which is a new technique. We haven't seen that done. This is the only time it's done in the whole series.
Really? Okay. It's the moment to pull it. This is where you do it.
It really is. It's such a cool move. Yeah, and so here we are. Human beings can become anything. And
Uh-huh.
like it's revealed that like the way he was reaching for her was to caress her cheek. He says, "You
Mm-hmm.
two are beautiful, shining jewels. You mustn't become monsters."
And the other thing he tells her to do, he says, forget this, right? Doesn't he
Yeah.
say, you must forget everything you saw here today? Listen carefully.
Yes. Yes, he tells her to forget. He didn't want her to remember it. He didn't
Yeah,
want her to be a monster. He didn't want her traumatized anywhere that she was already going to be.
right.
And
So
so it
her
is funny.
forgetting and
Yeah,
Johann remembering is what leads to, well, one of the factors
exactly.
seemingly that leads to him becoming the monster and not her.
Exactly. Johann remembered something
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't supposed to, Uh, this ties into some stuff that comes up in a later chapter, which is funny to be saying 4 chapters from the end, but there you go. Um, but it does tie into something a little later.
Yeah.
What do you think about Roberto's end?
Oh, he looks so terrible when he stumbles out into the
Mm,
street. It's awesome. Like he looks almost like a zombie. He's covered in blood. He is, dripping from his face and just kind of like slowly walking forward. And I love he's face down in the rain and is begging Johann to show him. And Johann
yeah,
just says no.
yeah,
I mean, I don't understand why he would say no. I don't get it, right? But I also don't know what it is Roberto thinks that he will see. I don't know. And this is kind of where we get back into as we remember the epigram. And there's like some revelation stuff in a chapter or now
uh huh.
two still. But it's the like full fun name of Revelation. Like I think what the Catholics call it is the revelation of John, or the revelation of the Apostle John. And as we know, like Johann is one of the derivatives of the name John, right? So this is like
Mm-hmm.
it's Johann's revelation is this horrible scarred
Oh wow.
wasteland,
Oh wow. That's really
it's
good.
the vision of the end, right? Because that's what Revelation is, right? It's a lot of apocalyptic imagery and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
it kind of it's a like a slight thematic tie back into some of
Yeah,
the stuff that was called out at the very beginning as like setting the tone for the story.
that's really
Um,
good.
yeah, it's fun.
I really like the page where Tenma's lining up the shot. Um, really good pacing with like zooming in on Tenma's face and Johann's face.
Oh, and then I love how we pull back into the 2-page spread. This is like
Mm.
it's one of the best spreads in the book.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
because it's the wasteland image we've had a couple times of them on the Czech border, but now it's present day Tenma and present day Johann, just like transported away from the rainy streets that they're on, just having their showdown in the wasteland.
Yeah, yeah. It really is
The two
so.
of them at the end of the world.
What I wouldn't give to have like a big old print of this, slap this
Yeah,
spread on my wall. You
I
know
mean,
what else
I
it
have to
is?
note that it's another
Yeah.
famous image of the end of the world, the end of Evangelion poster, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
in a similar space, I
Yeah.
think, to that.
I also, you know what this just reminds me of? This spread, it's like that spread way back in volume 1 in the parking deck.
Oh yeah, sure.
With Tenma on the right and Johann on the left.
And did we have this too when he was trying to shoot him in the library? Or not quite this?
Yeah,
Did
it
we
was
kind of
something
get this?
similar. It was something similar. Very interesting.
Yeah. Um yeah, the okay. So we love that. We what do you
Mm.
I didn't ask you what do you think of Roberto's end? Do you like it? Does it work for you?
I do like it a
Okay.
lot. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's a testament to how unnecessary the whole
That
Adolf
reveal
Reinhardt
was.
reveal was, because
Yeah.
like you can just go to the next chapter and not even think about it. We're not calling him Adolf. He's Roberto.
He's Roberto.
He's our trusted friend Roberto, and this whole Adolf thing is just not important to how he's characterized in the slightest.
Yeah. Um and then we've got kind of the return to the dollar store Nietzsche, we're all only equal when we're dead.
Yeah, you believed all lives were equal. That's why I came back to life. But you understand now, don't you? You know, um Yeah, equal in death. Man, what the fuck ever. This dude is his philosophies
He's just
are
on one right now, yeah.
not interesting or consistent. I think they're consistent though. One thing that I do love about how Johann is depicted in this chapter though, he is no longer serene or angelic. He looks tired.
He does, yeah.
He looks human, especially when Nina shows up and she forgives him.
Oh, yeah.
Like
That's too late.
Yeah, he's not a monster in these panels on this double page. He's not a monster anymore. Now he's just like a fucked up little man.
Yeah, he looks so tired when he holds that gun to Wim, which is the most end of a 90s action movie thing you can do, is now the bad guy has a child at gunpoint.
I don't know how Wim literally got over there. He just
Wim ran over to Papa.
Oh, right. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is funny to just be like Johann just reaches below the panel. He's like, look what I found. The child. Yeah. But he does. He looks very, very tired. I can't go back now. Right? And this is what we're saying. Johann.
He can't take it back, yeah.
He can't take it back. He can't forgive himself. There's no future for him. He understands. Like, ever since he remembered, right? Ever since he remembered that, or ever since Nina told him that he took her memories, he's known that everything he's done has been bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't forgive himself for it, so now he's going to commit suicide. Is kind of the deal here, I think. Yeah, Dr. Tenma has to shoot me. It's the only thing he knows how to do. It's the same thing Papa did. I'm prepared to die. Mm-hmm. But it's not that simple. And then he gets shot. We also have diagonal panels.
Yeah, as we think he's about to take the shot.
Yep, and again, we cut away from the gunshot. This is fucking... and you know what? The other ones are all well and good. I don't think we needed this one. I think we could have cut straight to him getting shot, and that would have actually been more surprising. So it's silly. I love you, Urasawa. Get a new move. Get a new move. Shall we go to chapter 160?
Yeah, chapter 160, The Living.
Oh, also real quick, just the spread with them in the wilderness. That's important because the manga doesn't depart from realism barely ever. It doesn't do like in terms of depiction, it doesn't get like cartoonish unless it's a storybook. It doesn't place people in other realms or things to denote like different states of mind or something like that. I think this is the only time where we legitimately see something that is not empirically happening.
And maybe this is spoiling my thoughts on the very ending, but I choose to believe this as Johann having some actual sort of supernatural power to show people these visions of the end. Not because like I have to do that to square the circle of what this is doing, but to me, I think that's something interesting. And it lets me have a couple different reads on the ending. I think it is. I'm
excited. I'm excited to hear this pitch.
Yeah. So I choose to, like I said. So my working knowledge on that is Johann has some sort of either psychic or.
So you think this is empirically what is being experienced?
I think this is what Tenma and Johann are both seeing. Yeah.
Okay.
In addition to just being like a cool device, right?
Totally.
Okay. Chapter 160, The Living. Wim's dad wanders the streets, saying that the devil came to this town and killed everyone. He happens upon the scene from the end of last chapter, Johann holding Wim at gunpoint as Nina and Rudy look on in horror. Wim's dad realizes what's going on and shouts to stop. It's his son. And then he says, "What's that? A monster. What is that thing?" Pulls his gun, shouts to stop and get away from his son, and we get a gunshot. The same one from last chapter. Wim's dad is the one who has shot Johann. We cut immediately to a medevac chopper landing in the town. The police are there. The east side of town has been rescued. All the civilians are being carried out. A news crew is there as the police look for survivors. The reporter says that they've never seen anything like this before. The entire population of a town has been wiped out in wanton slaughter. What happened in this quiet little town in southwestern Germany? We see Wim and his dad as the police say that they have the suspect in custody. The person who shot Johann was Herbert Knopp, Wim's dad. He shot the young man. The police remarked that he was a severe alcoholic who claimed to have seen a seven-headed monster covered in horns attacking his son. Nothing he says makes any sense. We cut to Rudy being interviewed by some of the other detectives who don't understand what's happened. Rudy's told them that a young man who called himself Johann destroyed the entire town in an attempt to commit suicide. Rudy tells them that it's a long story, and even if he tells them everything, they probably won't understand. Tenma and Nina sit in a corner looking extremely tired. The cops report that they found a wounded police officer at the Hotel Versteck. He's in critical condition, but he'll survive. Officer Lunga is carted out on a stretcher and explains that he's from the BKA, and Roberto, the dead man in the street, is the one who was responsible for all of this. He was almost able to kill him, but passed out. And the last thing he heard Roberto say was that he was looking for a vision of the end. The cops carry Lunga off and say that they'll get more testimony from him later. And we get a couple shots of some of the villagers, the fisherman and his wife, explaining the thing about the lottery ticket and, you know, how they feel that this was their fault. And then they realize, wait a minute, they lost the lottery ticket and all of the chaos. So everything can go back to normal the way that they'd hoped. Happy ending for them.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, your camera froze.
Oh, okay. Let me bump it, and then that should... Okay, there we go.
Matt's back.
Internet. Okay. The cops continue to talk to Tenma, and then someone rushes up and says that they need his help. Johann's in critical condition from the gunshot. He's still alive, but has an extremely severe head wound that can only be treated by a top-notch neurosurgeon. Lunga tells them to go get Tenma. The cops have realized that Tenma's the man from the wanted poster, and they're about to arrest him, but then the EMT runs up and says that they need Tenma's help to operate on Johann. Nina and Tenma look conflicted for a second, and Nina tells Tenma that she wants to forgive him, and that Tenma did nothing wrong, not then, not now, and whatever happens next, it's up to him. Tenma kind of has a look of resignation and walks away towards the medevac, and then we get a shot of a hospital room. I don't know if it's present day or if it's a flashback to the original surgery, but we're right back where we started. Tenma is operating on Johann after he's been shot in the head. And the last shot we get is looking up at Tenma as he prepares to begin surgery. We say, okay, let's begin. And then a blank page.
Mm-hmm. Your camera froze again.
Again. Let me unfreeze it.
What's going on with her?
I don't know.
I like this chapter a lot.
I do too. There's a lot in this chapter that I like.
Yeah, there's a lot here. There's a lot that happens in this chapter. You wanna start us off?
Yeah, so the thing at the very beginning that I love is my camera's frozen again. It's just not cooperating.
Right. Okay. Whatever.
I'll turn it off if it freezes one third time. Yeah. But Wim's dad seeing the monster as the seven-headed thing, you know, from the epigram, from the revelation of John the Baptist. This is another part of my theory, right? That like Johann has this supernatural aura around him that makes people see kind of this evil darkness, you know, that is the supernatural realm. Because I don't think he's literally seeing the monster. I think you can explain this away in a couple different ways. Like I did the count, the number of people that would be in that scene, kind of in that little cluster. It's 7 because you've got Roberto, Papa, Tenma, Nina,
Whoa.
Johann, Rudy, Wim.
Whoa.
So there's 7 people kind of in a cluster, right? And if this dude is just severely alcoholic, going through withdrawal, having a panic attack, right? Like there's a bunch of different things that he can see. But I think him describing that vision, and then the fact that, like, in the end, the thing that has gotten Johan, I kind of love it as a trope when it's like just someone who wasn't significant to the story at all is the one who got like the final blow.
Sure.
It's because it's surprising and it's unexpected.
Well, and it's also specifically like not only that, but it is a parent acting in defense of their child, and it is not even a good parent. It is an actively
terrible
really,
parent.
really bad parent. But he is coming to the defense of his kid without a second thought. Like, he sees a monster threatening his kid, and he shoots the monster. You know, like, it is incredibly the best thing this character ever does.
Yeah.
You know, or at least the most, the one that's the best parenting, I guess. And that's just really, I think it is very, very thematically appropriate that the thing that takes down Johan is a parent protecting their child.
Yeah.
And it's even better that the parent isn't a good parent. That just makes it even more
meaningful.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I think this whole ending sequence, listeners, you'll be treated to something that I've made. But it's really easy to imagine the end of this movie, right? As like the montage is happening, we've got kind of, whatever the last track is playing kind of as the helicopter lands, and we cut around seeing what's happened to everyone. And then the fact that where this all ends up is, we've tied off all the loose ends. Wim's dad doesn't have to go to prison. Lunga has said that Roberto's the one behind all of this. Tenma and Nina have talked about being able to forgive Johan. And then the last choice that we're faced with in this story is the first one again, where we've snaked all the way back around. It's the beginning is the end is the beginning is the end.
Yeah.
Tenma's got to save Johan. All lives are equally valuable.
Yes. Even Johan's. You gotta save him. And that's the thing. We're on this journey to save this guy, or we're on this journey to kill this guy, and what happens at the end? We save his life. That's what.
I like Lunga's little moment as he gets carted out, that he gets to, explain what happened to the cops and kind of prevent any more confusion from happening. And I like that the cops realizing that they've got Tenma, who's the guy that they've been chasing the whole time, it happens just as the EMT guy runs up and says, "We need you, Dr. Tenma."
Yeah, it's really, and it's really great because, Tenma, when Vim is telling that, he's yelling at the cops that his dad isn't a murderer, and Tenma puts his hand on his shoulder, and as we look up into Tenma's face, like, you can see that his eyes are clear, his face is clear, and he's a doctor again. This is who he was always meant to be. He was never going to be able to kill Johan. He's just not that kind of a person. He is a doctor. And the fact that this brings him back around and is like, this is the way forward. Healing. You heal everyone, no matter who. You forgive and you save. Which, now that I think about those verbs, Matt.
Yeah.
Those are kind of familiar verbs.
Yeah. We have maybe a little bit of a Christ type going on here.
I'm detecting a
little bit of Jesus,
Messiah. Just a twist.
Yeah.
Especially with his long hair.
Oh yeah. One of the things that is specific to my denomination, because a big part of it was tied up in the temperance movement at the 1800s, right, and health and stuff. There's a lot of writings from people who are big in the church where they refer to Christ as the great physician, right? Because he came and healed.
Oh,
yeah,
my
so it's
God. Oh, come on,
a little culty, but
no, I mean that's come on, just in terms of its relevance.
Yeah. I've always liked that descriptor.
No, it is a really good descriptor.
Because, I mean, what do we know? What were the miracles that Jesus did? It was a lot of just, like, healing people.
Healing people, making sure people could eat.
Uh-huh.
You know, and especially, like, you know, as a Jew, I think Jesus was a pretty cool guy. I think.
Yeah, I know it's complicated territory.
Cool. It is. You know, I know some Messianic Jews. That's an interesting denomination. You know Messianic Jews?
I've met a couple. Yeah. It's interesting.
I honestly think, if you ask me, I think Messianic Jews are probably the ones that are, like, closest to what Christ was envisioning.
Probably. That sounds right to me. I mean, because Christ was Jewish.
He was.
Is
yeah.
the other thing. Yeah.
Anyway,
complicated territory for me.
Yeah. One thing that I really like is they lost the lottery ticket.
That is a nice touch.
They lost, and it's a very non-king ending for a couple of king characters.
Yeah.
You know,
because I think the king ending would be they find it and then it's like, do we really want things to go back to normal, or does this paranoia just kind of stick around?
It's either that or they would have died somewhere in the last few chapters. You know,
I mean, they both got shot. I'm surprised that they're alive, honestly.
Yeah, well, exactly, and I think here we see. I think that's the fate of these characters is a good way to compare and contrast the difference between Urasawa and King. And we can see what Urasawa does with his king influences and how he chooses to do something else, right? King gets pretty nihilistic. King loves a good bad ending. And as a horror writer, that makes sense. But you can really tell, you know, every time Urasawa writes something, it's always in celebration of the human spirit. And I think the fate of these characters really shows us that.
Yeah. I don't really have any other notes for the end of this, other than, like I said, I think it's good.
Yeah. Okay. Chapter 161. Tomorrow Will Come. Ava is talking to Reichwein, telling him about the new job she got as an interior designer. She hasn't been drinking a drop. Reichwein says, "There's no need to rush anything. Either way, today will pass and tomorrow will come." And Ava says, "And that's happiness, right?" You know, and she says, "People are a mystery, sad memories fade, and we only remember the good parts. We're convenient creatures, don't you think?" And Reichwein says, "That's how we survive." At a graveyard, Jan and Verdeman are at the grave of Wolfgang Grimmer. Verdeman cleared Grimmer's name posthumously, but never found his real name. Lunga joins them. We find out that he's teaching at the police academy, and he's in touch with his daughter regularly. And he asks how much can people share in their lives, and says that he's sure there was a lot that Grimmer wanted to talk about over a cold beer. Ava is returning to Dusseldorf, and as she leaves, Reichwein looks back through his notebook where he's been scrapbooking the histories of Tenma. We find out that Tenma was cleared of all charges. He did not go back to the hospital, and he joined Doctors Without Borders. We check in on Otto and Dieter. Otto's complaining that Tenma's doing Doctors Without Borders, and that doesn't make anybody any money. And Dieter's got soccer practice. In southern France, Tenma visits a monastery.
I think it's a convent because it's
convent.
Nuns.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he visits a woman who talks to him a little bit about genetics and how she studied at the Mendel University in Brno, in the Czech Republic. Tenma asks if she is the mother of twins, and she says yes.
Yeah. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. Did you remember that the twins' mother was alive or not? because that was thing where
we talked about, like, did that get tied up? Did we
I brought it up. Did you
Yeah.
know that she was still out there, or was this because I know you said the ending
forgot about this?
Okay, yeah.
I 200% forgot about this. I don't think I would have been able to play it that cool if I remembered it. No, I had completely.
So I'm glad that she's here, and she says a thing to Tenma that I think is interesting. She says, "I feel like I could talk to you about anything, no matter how terrible." Which,
I feel like I could talk about anything, not specifically to
you. I could talk about anything. Okay.
Yes. But yes.
Because it's interesting. That's the thing that people always said about how Johan made them feel, right? Yeah. Is like they felt like they could talk about.
Yeah. In this case, she's talking about the weather.
Yeah.
You know, and this isn't the first time he's visited her. She's visited a number of times.
Right.
You know.
I think the detail that she was a geneticist is a very good one. And like that came up in the backstory. And I think that's I haven't quite figured out what I think that means yet, but I love that that's, you know, her history.
Think it means she studied at Mendel University, right? Mm-hmm. And you remember what Mendel's particular contribution to genetics was, right?
Yeah, it's like the Punnett squares from
yes. The idea
P's and genetic or dominant and recessive traits.
Yes. The idea is he discovered how things are hereditary, how we pass things on. And I think that is very meaningful in this story, and a very meaningful thing, you know, for the parent of Johan and Nina. You know, what did she pass on? She passed on her hatred. You know, but she also passed on her protectiveness. It's complicated, as any parenting is complicated. And you know, like, it's not, I don't know if she's been looking for her kids or not. She's been living, doing her own thing. But I think it's very interesting that her specialty in life is parenting, literally.
Yeah. I like the conversation between Ava and Dr. Reichwein, right? Sad memories fade and we only remember the good parts. Because I think this plays into I don't think it's quite a rebuttal of what we were saying, right? That like you have to forget the past. I think it's what you were saying is Reichwein has helped people realize they have to come to terms with it. And and the other thing that Dieter always said that Tenma said was, you know, let's make good new memories going forward, right? And so you know, just having that told to us so straightforwardly, I think is maybe like, okay, we should take that this is one of the main stated goals of this comic is, you know, you're going to have bad things happen to you in life. But that pain will fade eventually.
Yeah. And that's how we survive. And, you know, there's no point. I think the other thing that this is saying is that there's no point in trying to make your past go away. It will do that on its own. You know, if you live in the present and you like you face your past, you live in the present, you move to the future, and life will go on.
And I love the physical illustration of that with just the shrinking articles on Tenma. And like Ava explicitly ties that back again, but like I just think it's such a like that kind of blew me away a little bit, right? Like the articles get smaller and smaller and smaller, you know. This thing that we have read 161 chapters, right? That's like monolithic and the worst thing that's happened in all of these people's lives, and you know, already it's slowly starting to fade.
Yeah.
And everyone's happy, you know?
Everyone has moved on. You know, I love wrap-up chapters at any for anything. Like, call that me being a child of the 2000s. I love a wrap-up chapter. I love an epilogue during the credits, you know. Where are they now? But I think for this story in particular, it's not just appreciated, but necessary. Because it is so important to see them move on. It is important to see their life after Monster.
Right, because we talked so much about how all these characters were different genre characters who were being pulled into this black hole, and it's, you know, one by one we're getting to see them return to their lives.
Yes.
Which is important. And part of me, the first time I read it, I was like, well, everyone's just ending where we started, right? And there's this this is a very like Tumblr post Avatar: The Last Airbender thing, I think, right? Is like good shows have arcs where people grow and change and things like that. And that's the only way that things are good. And so there's like part of me that reflexively is like, well, everyone's ending up exactly where they started. That does not feel good to me. But
that's wrong.
But it is wrong, right? I mean, like in some ways, yes, everyone is back where they started. But I don't think that means, and like obviously they're different, right? Like obviously things have changed, but like situationally we're right back where we started. And so, like I said, my impulse was, well, that feels bad. I want them to be doing different things, and like they are. So it's, even if on its face it seems, oh, we've just gone back to status quo. Like no one is the same after this.
No, I mean, like Ava's not an alcoholic anymore.
Tenma's with Doctors Without Borders, yeah.
Yeah, they offered him, in point of fact, to directly conflict with the idea that we're back where we started, the hospital offered him a teaching position, and he turned them down. Like, Tenma is doing an extremely different thing than he was doing. And Doctors Without Borders is pretty much the greatest encapsulation. I mean, if you're a doctor and you believe that all lives are equal, Doctors Without Borders is a really, really good way to put those beliefs into practice.
Yeah.
And
like, okay, here's another thing, right? If we just really want to hit the nail on the head, what has been one of the central preoccupations with like the politics of this story, how it works, right, is borders collapsing after World War II and just like what nation splitting and things like that. And Tenma just being like, no, I'm not gonna. That doesn't. I don't know how Doctors Without Borders really works, but like the idea that it's just like this
go around the world and save lives,
Yeah, like the material, the arbitrary material conditions that created all of this horror. Just, I'm turning them off. I'm
the great physician.
Yeah,
like there is nothing greater than the need to help. Yeah, so it's great. It's really lovely for Tenma, and for Lunga, talking to his kids or talking to his daughter over email.
Computer letters for the computer man.
He is a computer man.
I do feel a little disappointed by the end of Yansuk's arc, but I can't imagine anything that's any better.
Yeah, there's only so much. Much room.
Yeah, because I don't want him and Nina to end up together. I feel like that's the only other possible. Yeah, I don't want that. So.
Oh my god. Yeah. So I think that's. Oh, and I love this sun-dappled bench in southern France.
Perfect.
It is so like after this volume of this like awful rainstorm where people are dying, and then here they are on the most beautiful day, a day so beautiful you could talk about anything. It is such a breath. It soothes you, even though it's not in color. You feel so relaxed.
Okay, are we doing it?
Chapter
the final chapter. The real monster.
Fuck, I got a little. That made me get a little butterflies. Little nerves. My god.
Okay. The mother of the twins tells Tenma about her husband. I loved him, and that man killed him. It was his experiment. I could never forgive him. Even if I died, the twins growing inside of me would punish him one day. My hand, don't let go of my hand. So we get from the mother of the twins the story that we've had from everyone else before, that she has passed her plan for revenge on that man into the twins. She asks herself, who are the real monster, and if the twins are alive and well. Tenma reveals that they are, and then we cut to Nina Fortner. Running, late for something. We cut back to the mother of the twins crying, saying that she's so glad they're alive and okay, and that she's remembered. And she probably will never remember again if she doesn't tell anyone now, but she gave them names. They had names. But we don't get to learn what those names are. Nina's back in law school, late for a meeting with the grumpy professor from her introduction chapter. She apologizes for being late, and the professor explains that he's called her in because he knows that she's had kind of a weird year. being absent from school for as long as she was with the events of this story. And she says that nothing excuses her absence and her poor grades, but the professor reveals that her thesis is the best he's ever seen from any student in his entire career. He tells her that she's done a good job and he's proud of her, and asks her what she wants to do with her life. And she says that she wants to be a lawyer. The professor says that she'll help many people and lets her go. And before she leaves, he does it. But just one more thing. You can't be tardy in court. And she leaves kind of smiling and happy, taking a call on her cell phone from Dieter, who asks if they're going to let her graduate, and she reveals they are. Dieter congratulates her and tells her that she could come home so they can celebrate. Nina says she's got to work and has plans with friends, but then Dieter tells her that Tenma's coming to town, and he's not going to be here for long, but he's going to be there. Nina hangs up and starts running to go meet Tenma, canceling her plans with her friends. And that's the last shot we get of her, happily running off into the sunset to go, be with her family. We then cut to the Bavaria State Police Hospital. Tenma's walking through the halls, past some nurses, going to visit someone. It's Johann. Still asleep, in a coma. He's been asleep the whole time since the accident, but Tenma talks to him anyways, unsure if he can hear him. He tells Johann that he spoke with his mother and that she loved him, and she told him his real name. Tenma sits there for a while, in silence and sunlight, and then Johann sits up. There's a moment of horror as the two stare at each other, and then Johann tells Dr. Tenma there's something he wants only him to know. The night when the monster came to them. And then we get a flashback to the night at the Three Frogs Inn with Peter Chopik and Franz Bonaparte coming to take the twins to the Red Rose Mansion. Their mother holds on to them and tries to keep the men away, but Franz Bonaparte says, "This is an experiment. We'll take one with us and leave one here. This is an experiment. Which one shall we take?" We get scramble panels as the children hold on to their mother. She tells them not to let go, and in horror, they look up at her. But then her face changes. She's resigned to what's going to happen. She tells the men to take this one. Wait, no, the other one. There's a scream, and we cut back to Tenma and Johann. With Johann asking Tenma, did my mother mean to save me, or did she confuse me with my sister? Which is it? Which one of us didn't she need? We look at Tenma's face in horror as he gasps and begins to hyperventilate. But Johann's still asleep in his coma as Tenma sits there and breathes, reflecting on this. Finally, it's time for him to go. He stands to leave and turns to give one last look back at Johann. We see him walking away through the window outside, and we cut back to the hospital room with the bed bathed in light, empty.
Finn.
Dude.
Oh. All right, Matt, I gotta know. What happened to you on that last panel?
Okay, so I was breathing heavily, and I think I am again right now. And
I mean, there's a lot to do.
I don't think I screamed. I think I just quietly said, "Wow." Jeez, what a way to end, I think. Like,
I know.
You get the happy ending, and then you get this, right? Which is like maybe the really truly most horrible and like, not obviously not, but like I think the thing is, like, we've had such a nice happy ending, and then this thing just hits like a freight train, right?
I know.
Like this question that Johann is asking, which, if we remember, what's the first central thesis of this story? All lives are equal. All lives are equally valuable. And this is how we end. This is the horror and terror that Johann wanted to show Dr. Tenma. Is this question, which one of us didn't she need?
Yeah.
Ugh.
I think, if I had to guess, I think that question is in Ruhenheim when Nina was like, "There's something he can't remember."
Yeah.
I think it was that.
Yeah.
Um,
To me, this is like really true. I mean, because we've said a bunch of times, this is the thing that made him a monster, right? It was Kinderheim 511. No, it was the reading group. No, it was, the story that Nina told him that night. I think it's this. It's this question, right? Are we all really equal? Or, it was my life worthless? Your parents didn't need you, right? That's the thing that he says to all these children.
Like, yeah. Oh. Man. And then there's what the mom said. Like, the mom is like, damn, I wonder, like, damn, was it me?
Yeah.
And I wish that, it would be great to know, but I think that's what makes this so horrifying is there's no way for anyone to know what her thought process was. Johann asked this question, but is that even the right question to ask? Maybe she chose Nina on purpose because she knew Nina was stronger. Maybe she was going to pick Johann because that guy was already kind of a little fucked up. And maybe he could have gotten through it better. Maybe it was just panic because it would have been worse for the child for them to have been. She felt it would have been worse for them to have been like torn from her. We don't know. We'll never know. It's impossible.
And there's no way she could have known either. Is the thing, right? And like, it's just. Oh, I think we've gone back and forth on like why was she dressing them up the same? Like, and we were kind of trying to figure out like what is the point of that? To me, I think purely if it's just so we can get to this moment in the story, I think it's fine. I think it's worth it because like
yes, this makes it worth it. I think maybe it was so that Papa wouldn't know which was which. So that he couldn't target one over the other.
But that just backfiring into she doesn't know which one to protect, right?
Maybe. Who knows? But the question, I mean, and here we see, like, no matter what her reasoning, this is the result.
This is what did it, yeah.
Our lives worth more than others because to Johann,
he has a material example more than the other.
Your mom did like someone better than the other. Your life, one of your lives was less valuable. Which one?
Oh.
And also the crazy thing, so the page spread when Johann sits up.
It's a killer.
It's a killer. It's even better because his face is perfectly positioned so that when you turn the page, you're making eye contact with him.
Oh, terrifying. Scary. I hate it. Yeah.
I know. Like, once you realize that.
I mean, he's looking out of the page at you. Yeah. This is a and this is where I continue to base my read, right? Because if you'll notice, right, I choose to take this as a not quite like a dream sequence, right? But I think Johann's in the coma the whole time. I think this is like psychic communication between the two of them.
I 200% agree. Yes.
Because his mouth never opens. His mouth never opens in any of the panels, right? And if we're saying that this is Johann talking directly to Dr. Tenma, but then also directly to us, the reader, and asking us like the final question of this thing, just fucking incredible, dude.
Yeah. And then in the final page, he's not there.
I don't take that as literal. I take that more as, I mean, but maybe I do, I don't know if he's gone.
I see that as Tenma told Johann his real name. And
now he no longer exists?
No, the opposite. Just as it did when Wolf named him Johann, he was revived.
Okay.
He was, in fact, you could say he was resurrected. and he has left to begin a new life as whoever this new person is with this new name. I think that's what this last panel is.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was just... because mine I think was he slipped away and he's gonna go do monstery things again. But like I
mean, it's sinister. Don't get me wrong. There's a sinister vibe, but
I don't think this is literal. I think, to me, this is an image the same way that I think that like a dream kind of psychic-y image. I think he's still just in a coma in that bed is like how I think the story ends. So we're different there. Is kind of where we go.
I strongly disagree. I think it is. No way. If we're saying that the psychic like communication sequence is legitimately real, then it doesn't like I'm not in for the bed not actually being empty. I think the bed is empty, and obviously there's a ton of ways to do this because, boy, this is some real, like, 1960s last panel stinger bullshit.
Oh, it's good.
It is good, but it also, this is the panel that launched 1,000 YouTube essays, you know what I mean? Like, we can do all we want. We can do all we want with the subtext for this panel, but the fucking fact is that the text of this panel says nothing.
Yeah.
And once we get into interpretation zone, we're just having fun.
Yeah. Pure speculation. We're just having fun.
So the bed is empty. That's the text. Subtext, anyone can be right about. So that's just an important thing to keep in mind because I just feel like this is an easy panel to really start arguing about.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that how we literally feel the story ends. I don't know. We can imagine whatever we want happens after this last panel. Like you said, we're just having fun, but I think this is such a powerful panel to end on.
Absolutely. It's
because isn't the empty bed the end of the first or one of the ends of the first volume? It's like,
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, and
I think here
we are.
Yeah, I think there's something interesting about the fact that we don't learn the real names of Johann or Nina or Grimmer, right? The only monstrified person that we know a name was Roberto. He was the only one who we got his real name.
Yeah, that's true. Which makes me
I don't know what that means.
Annoyed about it, actually. That sucks. Yeah, I really like this ending. There's so many scrambled panels. That memory is so intense. It's the most intense memory.
I mean, I think we kind of, in my reading, I might have glossed over it a little bit, but I think every single face shot in this is incredible. We've got like weird fisheye a little bit sometimes. We've got extreme close-ups. We've got like the screen tone behind people as it's horror and kind of, like hyperventilating motion lines. Everything is good.
Yeah. I mean, the spread with Johann looking at the viewer is one of my favorite
killer
in the whole thing. I mean, it's so incredible.
I think time for me to go. So Tenma's last line as he stands up to go. The last line we get from him in this comic is him saying, "Time for me to go," and then
just like that's the last thing Jesus says in the Bible. I'm pretty sure. Time for me to go.
And then the last look back. No, I mean, look, you're not wrong is the thing.
Am I not? Wait, am I not?
You're not quite wrong. So
okay. That's so funny.
Yeah. So it's killer. I like that we kind of get that we can see him walking away through the window. I like that we stay kind of anchored in that hospital room.
Definitely. Me too. Tenma leaves. We stay. And Johann also maybe leaves, depending.
Yeah.
Matt, you have read all of Monster, and now we have discussed all of Monster. Taken as a whole, from chapter 1 to 162, how do you feel about it?
Big fan. Very glad we read this. Very glad we did this. I understand why people hold this with the reverence that they do, and why this is like one of the big comics. I think, or one of the big manga, especially. I think it's just like a really good execution of a whole bunch of things that I like. I think it asks a lot of really interesting and fun questions, and there's like a lot of stuff for us to discuss just beyond like it being an exciting story. Just incredible art all the way through. And it was really, I think I've talked about it a couple times. When we decided that this is what we were going to do, I was really worried that I wouldn't have kind of the background to be able to discuss it in a way that would be interesting or meaningful.
But man, you fucking had it nailed, dude.
Well, I don't want to say I had it nailed, but it's been so rewarding to read a story in a new format that I'm unfamiliar with, or that I'm not as familiar with, and kind of see a lot of the things that I like and like to think about and care about, just kind of deployed in new and interesting ways. So I've been, thank you for encouraging me that this is something we should do. Because originally, like, I just bought the first volume and was, I have plenty of first trades of stories that I never, go past. So I'm glad that we decided to do this and I got to experience this.
Yeah, me too.
How do you feel after? Is this the second time you've read it in full?
Oh, I mean, you know me. This has got to be what, 3, 4, maybe
right.
5.
Yeah. What are your big picture thoughts after this reading?
I mean, I already loved it, but there was so much more here than even I thought. And even here in the very last episode, we're unearthing, this great thematic stuff, and it's just like, it's so rich, it's so well connected, and having someone to kind of go through it and point out stuff and help peel back all of the layers on this thing, is just such a pleasure. And of course, having people listening.
Thank you again, everyone who has listened.
So much to our listeners. It's really great having an audience, and having folks that are interested in the stuff that we're interested in. Talking about media and really like digging into it is just one of my favorite things, and getting to do it with one of my best friends and one of my favorite stories. Honestly, a bit of a...
It's been a delight. What a treat.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and excited to keep doing it, frankly.
I can't wait to see what comes next.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's about time for segments. Matt, what's your favorite Tenma moment?
I do think it's this final... It's impossible for it to be anything other than this bedside revelation, right, of the true horror. I mean, like... The Wasteland spread, all-timer, but I think it's this moment, like it might even just be specifically the last look back. It's all the way through. Tenma firing on all cylinders this week. Every moment in this last reading is my favorite Tenma moment, honestly.
Tenma characterized so well. I think maybe it's let's begin.
Wait. No, what? Did I do the face thing in our first recording where I walked through with his confrontation with Lunga, every single face that he makes? Yeah, that was this reading.
Yeah.
That is my favorite Tenma moment. I take it back. Never mind, it's that.
Okay, that is a good one. I think I really like when he turns around slowly to look over his shoulder at Papa to be like, I brought him back to life. And then, oh man, and then he saves Johan. He's on the quest to kill him, and then he saves him
again.
It's so good! Fuck, it's so good. We got a lot of side character stuff. What do you think about that?
I think it's the Lunga Roberto fight for me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Specifically, like the panel where Roberto throws Lunga into a wall and then sits on him. Just like wrestling move. And like Lunga blasting him through the chair. Good too.
I think probably I just love the devils in this town.
That's good.
I guess that's more of actually like
you can do that as a minor, because that guy only gets a name for a second.
So my side character then is I'm sure there was a lot he wanted to talk about over a nice cold beer.
Oh, that's a good one.
Just like Lunga and Grimmer, two of my favorite characters. Loved having them together, and I like that Lunga is mourning him.
Yeah.
And it's
yeah, I really like the way that this story ended up kind of pairing people up in the end, right? Like we got Yansuk and Verdaman, right? And we talked about how that was like an unexpected duo that we liked. We had Nina and Rudy running around for a little while together. We had Lunga and Grimmer. And then we kind of got like Ava and Reichwein. Yeah. I like the pairings that we had in this finale.
Yeah, where these are people that became connected through this thing.
Yeah.
And Dieter and Otto.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the result, like Johan set out,
and then I guess it's Johan and Tenma is who the final pair is.
Oh God, you're right. Holy shit. Yeah, and it's just like Johan was out here trying to disconnect everybody from everyone and make life meaningless, but people come together and they find meaning and they keep living. Even Johan. And that's what a fucking victory looks like.
Yeah, you're right. That's how the monster has been defeated.
Yeah. So, your favorite minor character?
I think mine, it's tragic, but I do like that hot dog girl moment where she sees Grimmer and is like, oh my gosh, I was so scared. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That one is really
it's
good.
tough. Yeah.
That's some classic, like, thriller. Oh, man. Yeah. Oof. Yeah.
Who's rocking this week?
Oh my God, who's rocking? I
mean, is it Grimmer?
No, surely
no.
Not. I don't know if... Oh, you know who's rocking? Geneticists that swore their progeny to revenge.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
That's big time who's rocking.
Yeah.
We kind of said it was like the husband last time, and this time it's her.
It's her. 100%.
Yeah, and who get some kind of neurodegenerative disease. And live in a nunnery.
A convent.
Is a nunnery the same thing as a convent?
I think so. I don't actually.
Well,
know.
It kind of seems like but like a nunnery is where they make a nun, right? It's like the nun production line.
I thought that's what a convent was, but they might just be the same thing. Convent versus nunnery. A convent might be gender neutral, so it's a monastery. A convent can refer to a monastery or a nunnery.
Well, I hope listeners who've been enjoying all this Christian trivia, because once we're not reading Monster,
there's a lot of it this week.
There's just going to be a lot less. There's still going to be some, but there's going to be less.
Yeah.
God, Matt, is that it? Are we done?
I mean, that's it. We don't have I don't get to say next time we're going to read. I mean, next time we are doing a wrap-up episode.
Yes, we are. So make sure to get those questions in. Urasawaboys at gmail.com. Is there a dash or a space, or is it just...
It's just one word, Urasawaboys at gmail.com.
Urasawaboys at gmail.com. Please send us
anything.
some anything. Send us some fan art.
Yeah, sure.
But some questions we'd love to answer some. Surely we will have stuff to do. I've got activities.
I have thoughts too.
I've got activities planned.
I'm excited for that.
Thanks again for waiting an extra week for this one. We really appreciate that. I mean, well.
We gotta do plugs.
Yeah, we gotta do plugs. Matt, my good buddy. Who are you? Where can people find you on the internet?
I'm Matt Fennell. You can find me. My blog is blarple.net, BLARPLE.net.
Are you posting there yet? Or?
No, not yet. But that's just still. Great. I have links to other stuff. Is there? I'm on. I deleted my Twitter yesterday. Yeah.
I logged out of mine. I should probably just fucking delete it.
Yeah, I downloaded my archive and deleted my account. So I'm on Blue Sky at mattfennell.beesky.
I think everyone should call it Beesky. I'm never going to call it Blue Sky. I think because Beesky rolls off the tongue.
It much better, yeah. So I'm on. My buddy Jared calls it Bluey because he's a dad and he has kids.
Bluey. Yeah.
So I'm on Beesky at mattfennell.beesky. We have an account for the show over there too. I think it's just urasawaboys.beesky. So that's there. But yeah, no, that's where you can find me. Quinn, where can the people find you?
You can find me at 200proof.itch.io. That's 200proof.itch.io. As well as I think it's 200 proof games at Beasky. And that's where you can find me. Yeah, so next week, wrap up Q&A and some fun little like tier lists and rankings and maybe some fan casting.
I think we're gonna do some fan castings. At least one. I think that's gonna be
yeah, at least one. And folks, really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you for being a friend.